Tell us about the tattoos.
Shut the fuck up, you little prick.
But then I've got the Phoenix.
Hey, prick.
So I'll take it from Bob every day of the week.
An absolute disgrace.
I'm sure no one will mind.
Move him out of here, Darren.
Ricky Hatton didn't go over for his fighter because he risked getting abducted and sold into sexual
I never said that.
Both have been rape victims. I'm not watching Frank Buglioni live on Saturday night. You're out of your mind.
Jesus Christ, get yourself a life.
He's actually a priest.
Yeah.
It's because his brother John Fury eye gouged him.
What have I told you all this time? He's going to end up sucked out, fucked out, looking for a handout.
Boxing, nutters, messenger group. I'm gonna be the king.
J-Pump, you know what I'm saying?
Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the 510th edition of the Boxing Asylum Nuthouse podcast. I'm your host, Steve Wellings, and joining us on the call, we have Andy Patterson and Matty Di Gialinardo going live on YouTube from 8 o'clock every Sunday evening. The Patreon RSS feed updates shortly after the show concludes. Hello to everyone listening through the week on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud. Don't forget to leave a review on the podcast player of your choice throughout the entire month of February. Nothing less than 5 stars is acceptable. I keep saying that I'm going to read them. Hopefully one day I actually will. I know that we're raking up the views. Must have about 300 odd on iTunes at least. And Spotify as well seems to be doing pretty well. Okay, so we have a bit of action over the weekend. I thought it was quite entertaining. A few domestic cards, bit of stateside action as well. Next week we've got Wood Lara. I'm looking forward to that one. And you're going to want to stick around or listen back during the week to the Belly of the Week. We've got a real good intro video this week. A message from a friend, let's just put it that way. You're going to want to see that. Anyway, let's start off with the boys. Matty's here, Andy's here. Hopefully Rob Kelly will be joining us as well. And Ozzy Smith, he's away in Brussels or somewhere, enjoying himself as best as he can. We'll start off over in the Alamo Dome, San Antonio, Texas, USA Showtime. Ray Vargas, 36-0, finally getting his first loss to O'Shaki Foster, 19-2. The vacant WBC World Super Featherweight title was on the line. Andy, I've waited years for Ray Vargas to get beaten, and finally O'Shaki Foster is the man to do it. Vargas has always been very awkward. He has pretty fast hands, but Foster took away the jab. He found a nice, comfortable range, and aside from a few dodgy rounds in the middle portion, I thought he boxed really nicely.
Yeah, I thought he did pretty well. He showed good feet. Obviously, he had a disadvantage with the reach and the height, but he made it work for him. I agree with what you say about the jab and that, because once he took away the jab, if Vargas would then throw the right hand behind it, but obviously that's his style, and he just couldn't get another shot off or something to then reset himself, wasn't he? Seen from time to time showing lead right hands as well, just trying to get something off, but. As good a performance, I think it was more. I don't want to say it was boring, but I think it was more a fight for the purist. I think because just seeing the kind of like the skills and involved by what Foster was doing, just to be deaf things, just to like the wee half step back, making Vargas miss. As I say, Vargas was in having to reset himself, and he says he was willing to kind of like hold his feet for time and just step in there and let his shots go. It was one of those fights. I've seen people actually get on Twitter and that claiming there must be Mexicans actually, claim it's a robbery and that. I just think it was one of those type of performances where you see the fighter who's kind of probably doing a wee bit mostly off the back foot, and he's doing it well. Doesn't really sit well. This is why I say it's a purist performance. It doesn't sit well with a lot of people who prefer a bit of action, a bit of come forward, and just basically a bit of war, basically. But I thought that was the type of fight it turned out to be. And as I say, no boring, but it was one of those type of performances where you had to kind of really appreciate what one of the other guys was doing. I did think O'Shaki Foster did offset a lot of what Vargas is probably good at, and that's that kind of tall, rangy jab, right hand, and obviously trying to kind of like wear you down, and just obviously kind of just simply boxes himself into a kind of like into a groove. I just thought Foster just kind of really just upset his rhythm in every way. I can't remember what the scorecards were at this point actually, but I did think maybe Foster was more than a worthy winner in my opinion.
They were stupid.
But was one quite close, one quite wide?
Yeah, 116, 112, 117, 111, and then a 119, 111. So they scored 2 even rounds. Like I thought that was a particularly goofy as fuck.
It says
card.
119, 109 on BoxRec here. So
cool.
maybe
well,
there was
maybe they fixed what after the announcement, because I
yeah.
thought, I'm like, wow, that sounds really British. I'm like, weird, not here, but yeah, it was. I agree with you, Andy. It was worthy winner. Just weird cards.
Yeah, without doubt. Just look who it is. Alejandro Rohan.
Yeah.
That was him that did the Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder draw, wasn't it?
He's been responsible for a few, hasn't he? I recognise the name.
Oh, people might remember him. I'm sure there's been 2 recent cards. I'm sure he was involved in the first Wilder Fury fight. Trying to remember who the other one was.
Oh, he's definitely a familiar figure. I think he's about Foster though, Andy. I know Ozzy does the old records for DJs, but he's fairly built himself up, hasn't he? 10 wins on the row now. He had a couple of losses early on. He learnt his trade. He went out and got one of these. We shit on these ball belts, and they are stupid to a degree. But he got the WBC silver super featherweight title against Mercado. Then he defended against Mickey Roman, who's obviously done, but he managed to knock him out. And then he had that eliminator with Mohamed Yakubov, who he's going to have to fight again if Yakubov gets past Conceição, as I mentioned last week. That was 3 wins in a row, got himself the eliminator, won that as well, and then got himself the shot. Yeah. So he really built himself back up by using in the sanctioning bodies to good effect. And guys like Foster, Andy, wouldn't have maybe got a shot other than for that. So fair play to him.
Yeah, but plus as well, as he's probably come at a price as well. He's probably the kind of sign his life away to Uncle Al. Praise be to him. But that said, it's good to see these guys. I mean, obviously he's had his personal issues outside the ring. He's had to travel abroad for some of these fights. I think he even had to go to Costa Rica after his stint in jail as well for a fight. But you say he's come back. He's even had to fight through the pandemic. 2 years out after the Mickey Roman fight, and he probably thinks to himself, maybe they're never going to get an opportunity. He was a 29-year-old, 30. Usually you're at or just maybe sliding past your peak at that point. But he's picked it up, and as I say as well, I don't think many has picked him. Did anybody pick him last week actually as part of the?
Rob did, and I think Ozzy was in an orange during the week, and eventually he went with Foster. Yeah.
I was thinking about Foster as well, but I just kind of felt with Ray Vargas.
He always finds a way, Vargas. I just thought he would get through.
Death taxes and Ray Vargas by unanimous decision.
Said it before, mate.
Fuck, it just didn't happen this time.
I've said it before. 100% said it before. But yeah, like, as Steve says, he's earned his opportunity. Mercado, Roman. He's had the 2-year layoff after that. He had to travel abroad for the Yakubov fight. Won that widely. I think he maybe even had Yakubov down, late in that fight. And as I said last night, he defined the moment rather than the moment defined him. He stepped up, and probably fair to say, he was probably the B-side of that main event, I would probably imagine, considering Ray Vargas had been a kind of long-standing member of Showtime, or that stable at least. And that, so he's really upset at that. I don't know if it was kind of early in that. I'm trying to remember any other upsets of the year so far, but it's got to be a week, a contender of some sort of kind of like upset of the year so far. At least deserves a wee mention.
Yeah,
it was the big fuck who got beat last week. The prospect who got knocked out by the South American guy. That was like 10-1 in the books, Andy. It was huge.
Yeah, who was that again?
The two brothers
last week already.
The two brothers. The brother that got.
Torma.
That one. Just as far as the numbers go, that's going to be hard to beat. Like by the time the fight happened, Andy, like the betting public saw the value in this, and I should have jumped on it, because Foster opened up probably about paying 2.5 to 1. And he got down to near even money. Like they bet him down. So there got to be a good flow of cash on Oshaki Foster to bring it down that much. So yeah, they felt it. So, and I guess when it comes down to it, Steve, kind of what happened there is, Ray Vargas does a lot of the basics really well. He's got a good jab. He's got a good right hand. He's able to keep his distance really well. He's tall in the divisions that he's been in. And those things usually get you by in a fight. If you can keep distance, you have a good jab and a right hand, you're probably going to win, right? It just is. But then you run into those guys who are just a little too cute for that. And that's what Oshaki Foster is. He's got the rolls. He's got a few moves with his feet. He can get under things. And I think what really screwed with Vargas, and Andy, this might surprise you, is there was a strong height differential, but their reach is the same. And those short guys with long arms, they bring something interesting to the table, because as the taller guy, you feel like you've set up shop maybe in a place where the shorter guy is not going to get to you, but he has the same reach. So you have set up shop right at the end of his punches. Just one of those things. I didn't like Vargas doing that piss half ass, whatever it was, shoulder roll kind of thing, keeping his left arm more down across his chest. It was dumb.
That's interesting.
Tactical goof
about the reach. What was it? Because Boxrec are claiming that Foster's actually got a longer reach.
They had a 71.5 was the list on Showtime last night, if I recall.
So according to Boxrec, they've got Foster down as 72 inches, and they've got Vargas down as 70.5.
So so they're either equal or maybe Foster has a bit longer. So it's kind of like Kyle Weeder. Remember, he had fucking incredibly long arms for a guy that, I mean, he was like a 5'7" cruiserweight, but he just had these like heavyweight length arms. It'd fool you.
The reach is an underrated weapon, I think, Matty, sometimes with that. People look at the height. Gervonta Davis is one as well. I always bring this to. His arms are so long, you're able to explode and get into the body on guys. And even though you mentioned Vargas does the basics very well, I thought last night, actually, he was struggling. He got very unorthodox at times. He was doing this weird thing where he's shaking. Even Foster's corner said, what is it? This goofy shit, they referred to it. He was doing all these mad moves. I think he was really frustrated, and he kind of let the basics go because he didn't quite know what to do with Foster, Matty, regarding the speed and the reflexes. And the defense, the shoulder roll defense, was spot on.
Yeah, I think he was doing something he shouldn't have done, and it obviously didn't pay off for him. And I don't even know if he would have not done those if he would have lost. I think that Foster, it might just be one of those fighters that kind of has his number. And if you go back through Vargas's resume, I mean, I don't have it pulled up right now. I think you're going to fail to see too many of those fighters that are, cuties at the end of the day. And, what he ran into there basically was like Diet Shakur Stevenson, and so obviously that would give him a hell of a struggle. And I'll tell you what I worry about for Vargas, though. I think a lot of his confidence was beaten. It was in that unbeaten record, and you could just see he wasn't confident last night. And I think something might have been taken out of him. The way I see the next 6 months playing out, Steve, is you have the Magsayo-Figueroa fight, and I think the winner of that is going to be challenging Ray Vargas. Obviously, I would like to see Figueroa win that fight. And you know what? Figueroa is a guy who will walk you down, and if you can't get him out of there, he's going to give you hell for every minute. And just plain as it could be, he doesn't. Vargas doesn't have the tools that God. Why am I struggling for his name right now? There's no reason I should struggle his name. The guy that beat fighting Ioka, Stephen Foster.
Stephen Fulton.
Thank you, Fulton. Why God, struggling. Sorry about that.
You're mixing up Shaquille Foster and Stephen Fulton into one here.
There's too much going on. It's intense, Steve. I only have so much room in my brain. I just think I forgot where I live trying to get all this info in. But so if you look at obviously Vargas doesn't have the tools that Fulton has. I think they're similar in dimensions, but that's about it. And so coming back down to 126, I think Figueroa is going to beat Magsayo in what's going to be a really entertaining fight. And I really would take Figueroa to beat Ray Vargas too and stop him late. I think that'd be a fight where I think Vargas would just sweep the first 4, 5, 6 rounds, and then Figueroa is going to come out of nowhere and just start waylaying him. So I'm looking forward to the potential of these 1-2 punch at the 126-pound division, since Vargas is going to evacuate back south again. But also, I mean, fair play to Oshaki Foster. He rose to the occasion when he needed to, and now he's holding the belt. If the eliminators involves Conceição, I think Conceição is going to get another shot because he's a good fighter. He really is.
Yeah, he'll beat Yakubov, I think. And I'm not so sure about Vargas. Matty sweeping 4 or 5 rounds against Brandon Figueroa. I think Figueroa will just keep walking him down constantly, nonstop.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that he could use his height, reach, and his legs to give him some troubles, and it'll just take Figueroa a little while to settle in. But once he's able to start getting past the jab of Vargas and get him up against the ropes, it's going to be just a beat down. And I think Andy's going to enjoy it. Andy's going to be there with scotch and popcorn, just going like mad. But it'll be a fun day. It'll be a fun day. You might get to see.
Completely forgot that Vargas held that WBC 126 title. I actually forgot about that.
But Andy, I know you've had a hard time, like getting optimistic about the year. But you might get to see Ray Vargas lose twice in a calendar year, and I think that's
unless he
something
gets knocked out. We need to see him run out of sport, mate. We need to see him knocked out.
Okay, pulling for you.
Still need word on Fury against Usyk yet, so nothing really much to look forward to. You've got Taylor pulling out of fucking fights. You know what I'm saying?
Doesn't look like it's going to happen. I know they've mandated a few heavyweight fights, but maybe we can get up for it. The chat seem to be having a great time here. We'll give them a shout out very shortly. Callum B says, "What kind of name is Oshaki, for fuck's sake?" I kind of agree with Callum there. It involves a lot of work to get through Oshaki Foster, but
Oshaki. It's not even Oshaki. It's pronounced Oshaki.
Oh, is it Oshaki?
Really
Oshaki the world. It was like what he had over his shorts.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
He certainly showed me.
The English language, it's whatever you want to make out of it, Steve. Fucking words, whatever.
Absolutely. Ryan Deal, he's down in New Zealand. He's thrown in a 5 spot for you, Matty. He says, for Matty's rent, seeing as the double draw parlay fell through. What's going on here?
Oh, I lost a draw bet and then fucking Sims blew a bet. But we'll get into what I won and lost. I don't want to spoil everything because I'm sitting around with nothing to do, making small bets along the way. And I actually won a bunch of bets this weekend, but we'll get into that when we wrap it up because I don't want to spoil all the things that happened, Steve. And there was so much.
There certainly was. Just quickly before we move on, actually, Matty, I was thinking Foster now, hopefully he goes on a little run. I would imagine he'd beat both of the mandatories, Hernandez, and then you probably make him favourite against the winner, Conceição Yakubov, which we expect would be Conceição. He's going to maybe go on a bit of a Tevin Farmer run now. You know, the way Farmer turned his career around after a few losses early on and got into his groove and really matured as a fighter. Maybe Foster can do the same.
Oh, I think he definitely has a chance to do that. And 130 is kind of evacuated as far as talent goes for the time being. So it's kind of wide open, and he can make a statement there. There's a lot of quality to be found in Foster. I'll be interested to see what'll happen when he fights a guy who can really corner him and maybe impose himself on him a bit. But as of right now, he's definitely, you got to consider him one of the better just boxers around the 130-pound division.
Certainly is. Good luck to both the boys going forward. Foster, excellent boxer. Vargas might disappear. Onto the undercard, Andy. Real fun scrap, I thought, in the chief support. A couple of boys heading for Skid Row. Mario Barrios, who was doing really well. Then he bumped into Akhmedov, kind of just about snuck over the line, knocked out by Tank, and then lost the decision to Thurman. He could really do with a win. And then against Santiago, who I said would have been a bit of a level below him. A lot of knockouts on the record, but at kind of Puerto Rican level. And then when he stepped up in class, he obviously went with the AB up at it was 147 up there, lost the 12-round decision, and then he retired against Gary Antoine Russell. He hung in for as long as he could, Santiago, but he was starting to get beaten up as the fight went on and eventually got stopped there, Andy.
Yeah, he was getting marked up around about the eye. I think he'd been cut as well, probably the previous round, around about the kind of maybe about the middle of the forehead. He took big, massive straight right hands to Barrios as well, who I thought was maybe showed maybe kind of a ruthless side. I thought he was pretty well on top, and obviously in the end, but was it midway through the 8th, I think it was, he finally kind of gets him in the corner and just kind of tees off on him. I don't know if he went down again, but he was bleeding badly, I think, by that point as well. I don't know if he got knocked down and he was allowed to continue, and then or maybe just had a quick check at the cut. But he didn't let him kind of regroup and anything like that. Barrios just kind of kept beating him up, kind of kept popping at him. And as you say, mate, he just badly kind of beat him down in the end and basically, forced the referee to stop the fight. So I just think it's one of those kind of mid-tier fights. Obviously, Barrios has probably got Hyman's got options on Barrios, and this is him maybe just kind of filling out the contract, so to say, maybe. So I don't know where he probably goes at this point, actually, Barrios, in terms of, maybe world title fights. I forget what weight that was at, actually, that fight, to be fair.
Well, a welter.
Was it? Welter weight?
Yeah.
What weight did he fight Davis at?
140. He fought Thurman at 147, though, too.
Yeah.
Right. Fucking hell.
Started his career at 122.
That's incredible. What age is he? He must be like what, early 30s, 33.
122, did he really?
28 or 29, Andy. Yeah, started 122.
He's 27. El Azteca,
Is he?
yeah.
Fucking hell, man.
Yeah, 120. Well, just about 122. He was sort of coming in just over, so probably with an eye on 126. But yeah, the fact that he's so tall, he leans in as well, Andy, and he gives up those height advantages. But that's for our benefit because it means he gets hit more often and he's in more exciting fights.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just pulling up the rankings here to see what we've got here in terms of options. It's obviously a title fight's not going to be happening anytime soon, but I think there's some decent options there for him actually. To be fair,
I'm curious if he can still make 140 pounds because I'd like to see him against the Gary Russell that's at 140, who also has a stoppage win over Giovanni Santiago.
Yeah, like I say, Avanesi and Kavalinsky's fights would be decent ones, I would think.
I think he could make the 140, but I think I've after hearing interviews with him and the fact he moved up to Thurman and that, I don't think he has any intention.
I got a name for it. I got a name and a fight for you. This is a guy. No, Ugas. I don't know about that. Cody Crowley. You talk about a guy who deserves a fight, and they should get one moving fucking one way or the other. I think that Barrios and Cody Crowley makes a fantastic fight.
I think it does, but I'm not sure. Barrios is quite far down in the rankings, especially the WBA, and I think Crowley will be looking upwards. He might get the Spence call.
Quick phone call though, mate. It'll get you up the rankings, no problem. Don't you worry about that.
Keith is gonna fucking make that Spence call fucking pointless, baby.
I think he might hang around, even if Spence moves up, and then he might hang around for a vacant shot. Crowley, I'm not so sure he'd be so quick to take a Barrios fight.
You might be right. But what's great is PBC has a good roster. I mean, if they stay afloat, obviously we got Virgil Ortiz, who is over Golden Boy or Matchroom. He's fighting DAZN either way against Kavalauskas coming up. Also, you have Butayev. There's a fight for you for Barrios. Butayev looking there for a dance.
Butayev would mutilate him, man.
I don't know about that, buddy.
He's massive for that weight, dude. Man, fucking, you seen Barrios started at 122. Butayev's a fucking mutant at that weight.
I think the Barrios is coming into his own, and he is a pretty good fighter. People are forgetting what a good fight that he was giving Davis through at least the first 7 rounds of that fight. And he had his moments with Keith Thurman, but people have talked down Thurman so much that they refuse to kind of rate how he did in that one and what he was up against. I think Barrios, he's like you said, he's a young fighter, Steve. You just saw that. He's still a fairly young guy. And I think he's going to be, I don't know if he's going to be a tight list again, but I think he's going to be an action guy, and they need to be looking at fan-friendly fights for him, keeping this guy active. Like I said, I think a Butayev fight is that really has barn burner written all over it. Sign me up.
Butayev has fought as high as 154. I've just pulled up Barrios' record there, and he has fought as low as 122, as you said. I don't know, mate. I just think he's at that point because he's got that advantage of being like a kind of like lanky dude, 6 feet, whatever he is. But Butayev, man, the guy's a fucking monster. The guy's not any slouch. He's tall. He must be like at least 6 feet. He can dig. They can grapple.
I don't think he's 6 foot tall. Him and Stanionis were about the same size. He's your typical welterweight. I think 5'9".
But you got Stanionis kind of like he kind of does that kind of crouch, doesn't he? And maybe Butayev does the same. But he's not to be messed with. Like he's a hard fighter. And you think about that jab that Stanionis was pumping into him, by the way, and he kept coming the whole fucking fight, mate. Took it to the distance. I think he maybe even won on one of the judges' scorecards and that as well. So. I wouldn't say Barrios is a fucking favourite in that one. Like
no chance. I think you can punch through Barrios. That's what Tank showed. I think the main difference was Tank hit so hard, doesn't he? And he was just punched through Barrios in the end. And I think Butayev would do that.
Well, Tank is a whole lot more accurate than Butayev is. I mean, I think you saw that in the Stanionis fight, and Barrios has a very capable jab, and that disrupted what Butayev likes to do a lot. So I think that fight's more competitive than you're giving it credit for.
No, it is competitive. He does have a good jab, but I don't think he can keep people off with his jab. No. He leans in. He takes a lot of shots, doesn't he, Barrios? He always looks like he's had been in a car crash after any fight at a decent level.
Stanionis has got one of the best jabs in the world at this point. And
I'm glad you guys finally agree with me.
And he struggled to keep Butayev off him for the entire 12 rounds. Barrios at some point is going to get worn down, I think, and stop late in that one.
Who cares? It would be a good TV fight, and that's what I'm talking about. You're thinking it's like, how can he maneuver his way to a loose championship or something like that? And I'm saying, how does PBC put on cards that entertain the fans? And I gave you two good options. Another entertaining option is Josecito Lopez. Talk about a fight that doesn't fucking matter, though.
Guys want
Is he
paid,
still
though.
going?
There's no
He
money.
might be retired. I don't know. He fought Crowley last year. I don't know if he's done shit since then or if he's hung it up or whatever.
You're always thinking of good fights, Matty. That's the problem. I'm not here to be entertained. I want to be miserable.
I can tell you guys are just you guys are just at glasses half empty. You're like,
it's not so
that
much
glass
that.
is half empty, and what's there is piss.
Yeah, and this is what we're mostly getting at the minute. This is what I was kind of mentioning last week, right? You know, everybody gets, but nobody wants. We get these fights that we didn't really want, really, to be fair. I mean, none of us were fucking flirting up to go and see Yusaki Foster beat Ray Vargas, for Christ's sake. You know, none of us want to watch Ray Vargas, fucking hell. You know, I see you've got your man Ricky Graville fighting next week. I've not seen him fight since he fought David Benavidez all the years ago. So they're just saying that there's, like, you know, the big fights, the transcendent fights, the big stars, you know. Well, fucking nobody outside. And the thing is, those that are there, Canelo and maybe Fury, Lomachenko, if you want to throw them in there, they're fucking all getting. They're going to be away for the sport.
To be fair, though, Andy, Ricky Graville's paid his dues on the undercards, shagging dead swans and stuff, and now he's got his big opportunity.
And Jimmy Yappy fingers foxes too. We can't forget about that.
Oh yeah, that's a whole other story. Go on, Matty.
But I mean, Andy, it's crazy. You're looking at boxing like it's prison sex. You know what you want, you ain't getting. What you getting, you don't want. It's not that bad.
How's it not that bad, mate?
Definitely, boxing is at least better than prison.
Right, boxing's non-consensual.
That stance.
Exactly.
That stance.
It is the red light district after all. But let me tell you, right?
Boxing
I was thinking about this today. I think when they hear this one, right? You can Muhammad Ali and fucking Joe Frazier fought each other 3 times in the space of, what was it, 4 years? Gatti fought Mickey Ward in the space of like 18 months, 2 years, whatever it was. You had
two
Robinson,
of those fights weren't that good.
Right, exactly. What does it matter, right? But anyways, we waited a fucking decade just to get the fucking rematch between Chocolatito and Estrada. Next time we get 2 fights within. Yeah, I know, but that's the fucking point. We want these fighters when they're in their fucking fight, close to their peak. At that point, we were all questioning, Gonzalez has been knocked out of Rungvisai, and that he's washed, he's this, that, the next thing. They're all the same fighters. Ah, man, it seems the same. Floyd Manny, we waited for that for fucking how long? We're waiting fucking even length of time for fucking Spence against Crawford. These fights, we want to see, we don't get. But we've got to see, here's a consolation prize. We get to see Shaki Foster upset the world by beating Ray Vargas for the first time. Who gives a fuck about Ray Vargas, really? All we want is big fights, big spectacles. And then that's when people start paying for this shit. But no, this is what we get. As I said, we get what everybody gets, nobody wants. Right? We didn't want to see this shit. We want to see, these outbreaking fights. Even Inoue at this point, for all he's done in the sport, right? 3-weight world champion, unified, undisputed in one division. Yet people still shit on him for his fucking resume. For he's no fought any great or big names and that. No, his fault obviously in that, but Top Rank could have done fucking far better by him. You know what I'm saying? It's just like too many vested interests, too many TV stations, that type of thing. No many want to work together on that. And if they get a chance, they'll fuck each other over and try and get a belt stripped from me for whatever reason, Manfreeze or whatever and that. It's just fucked, man. We're talking about it at the kind of tail end of last year, weren't we? We're doing like the Christmas review or whatever it was. To kind of state the sport. Obviously, none will kill it. It'll probably come back again in a few years' time. But there's no upcoming stars. You just don't see them. There's no fucking personalities. There's no charisma. Just shit, man. There you go, Steve. Is that any more negative for you, mate?
If we go quick enough, Rob won't be here, and he's in the lead. So, just saying.
That's the only way we're going to catch him.
Even Rob was fucking at this stage at this point last year. That man, he was fucking washed with the sport. It was fucking pish. We're getting what we want.
We'll keep going.
Exactly.
Well,
we'll
he's
keep
been
going.
talking to you for 5 years.
I'll tell you what, though. I'll give you a bit of hope, boys, just before we do our rundown of the chat. Matty, I must admit, I did enjoy one fight. Well, I actually enjoyed all 3 to a varying degree, but the heavyweights on the undercard, Lenia Perro and Victor Vikhurst, 8 rounds out of 10, it managed to last. It was a fun fight. I thought Faust showed surprisingly fast hands, counter-punching instincts. He was able to catch Perro. He was clearly the puncher of the 2, both very good amateur fighters back in the day. The ending was really strange. I was in the kitchen fiddling about, washing the dishes and whatnot, and all of a sudden I heard Mauro Ranallo shouting, "That's how quickly things can change in boxing." And I ran over to the computer and I saw Vargas rolling about in the corner, and I thought, oh shit, Perro's caught him with a massive left hand or something and knocked him out, and I rewound it about 15 seconds, and I still really don't know what he caught him with, to be honest.
I don't either, Steve. I don't either, man. I've been trying to put that together, and I almost think like the body shot caught him off, really kind of caught him off guard, and then I think he might have gotten his nose broken with the left hand.
Right.
And he was just kind of in a state of shock, and he didn't know just to take a knee or something, like to get his senses back. Or it was one of the more bizarre endings I've seen in recent memory. And it was in what was a really good fight. I thought it kind of fizzled a bit, like 5, 6, 7-ish. But the first 4 rounds were absolutely insane. Like every time you look up, there's a huge shot being landed, and it just sounded. I mean, they were landing serious leather on each other when they were letting loose. But it was interesting. It kind of took me until now thinking how Faust reminded me who he fought. Like he kind of fights like a fellow Ukrainian Victor Postol. Just keeping those quick combinations kind of upstairs, not doing a whole lot to the body, keeping your opponent's hand at home kind of thing. It made me think of Postol in the way that he fights for sure, especially in his prime. But then he just got caught. it was a very weird occurrence. I was just as surprised as anyone, and like we said, we're still trying to put it together today. Maybe we need to check and see if there's some on Boxing Scene and he's explained it. But that was a weird one. But the first 4 rounds, if it kept going like that, I mean, that fight would have been beyond incredible. But it just kind of fizzled. But that's 2 really entertaining fights that Faust has been in the last couple of years, because he was also in that 2-rounder that the referee ruined last year.
Oh, Kaladze, yeah.
Oh, that fight was ridiculous, Steve. That was just a mad, Wild West gunslinging shit show. I loved it. So yeah, and we'll see where Perro goes from here. But Perro, I guess, without the double R. And
the dog.
Yeah. Why isn't he just L? He could, anyway, that would have been the easiest nickname ever, but he's like some Justice Seco or whatever. But I don't think either of these guys are future titleists or anything like that, Steve. But I do think, again, good enough to be in entertaining fights, match them well. And I like to see this stuff, 2 young guys putting their undefeated records on the line, before they even have a dozen fights in a 10-round contest. We need more of that.
Yeah, I agree with Matty. Actually, I've got the same kind on my notes. Neither of these guys are going to be troubling the upper echelons of the division anytime soon, but it was a fun fight overall. Both very good amateurs, surprisingly. I thought Perro looked quite small, Andy. He represented Cuba in the 2016 Olympics. He had 100 fights or so, very successful amateur career. Multiple wins over Frank Sanchez. I think he fought Filip Hrgovic as well. And as for Vikhurst, he was a European super heavyweight champion, fought Fraser Clark, got a win over him. Vladimir Sidorenko, a couple of losses to Joe Joyce. So they both fought very well at an amateur level, but it's bringing the fun rather than, outboxing the sweet science of these 2 guys. That's going to do them well going forward. I thought that definitely, even though Perro had quite a few knockouts on his record, on his ledger, only 8 fights. The fact he was stepping up to fight a guy like Force shows good intention from him. That's what I like to see from these Cubans and Ukrainians. They end up in America and they get matched pretty tough pretty quickly. And both of these can be in exciting fights, even if Perro is slightly on the smaller side.
Yeah, I had seen that Perro once before, actually. It was like a kind of grainy YouTube video. I can't remember how I came across it, actually. It might be when it was one of his fights abroad. I was seeing you guys before the start of the pod, and I only caught it for round 4, so it sounds like I've missed all the good action, but it did sound like that Perro had invested a lot of work in the body. And the best shot of that punch that landed, it looked like it landed around about the kind of bottom rib area. If you get landed there, it's fucking brutal. It can just sap the wind right out of you, and of course you turn your back like that, or just kind of like. He didn't really turn his back, did he? He just seemed to kind of like, can I give up? And
that floating rib will move. That's the problem. Your liver might not be there, but that rib, right, that bottom rib, still fucking
Yeah, it's a fucking hard one. It's one of the ones when you actually get the shot, it goes. That's how you kind of go, like trying. You're like, what was that?
That's where Roy caught that cat and broke his fucking rib. Yeah,
exactly. He fucking rolled him back. But yeah, you kind of get that impression off those guys. You look at Vikers, as you say, who I've seen at least more than what I've seen of Pero. To be fair, definitely a guy who could be challenging at European title level. No problem with that. Pero, I think he is. Again, he's at that age and that as well. He just needs opportunities, but I just don't think they're going to be there for him at this point. Given the age, definitely a dart liar as well, isn't he? He has got power. You could hear it in some of those shots in the latter half of that fight, and that when he was landing shots, he still carried the power into that 8th round. You could hear the punches. So there is that. It's just one of those. Whereas he's going to have to, as you say, mate, keep getting matched, maybe higher all the time to try and get himself in a position. You see, like Bacoli, for example, another dart liar. You know, you've seen these moments where he's like wanting to bail in fights, then he's come back and he's looked like fantastic against Yoka, look a power hitter, and he's now suffering now. He can't get fights by the looks of it. You're calling out everybody. So you want
I think he signed with Boxer, Andy, actually, so he might get an opportunity, hopefully, yeah.
But you can't what's going to happen there, mate. They're going to bring in those fucking fat Argies or fat Hungarians for him and that feast on for the next 2 years.
Oh, that Nascimento. He's on speed dial.
And him with the big spectacular tattoo on his face and on his body and that type of shit. That'll be the shit that he'll be facing. But yeah, the guys will have their space in the sport. Maybe maybe Pero might get a top 15 ranking with it and that. But as I say, it's just all about getting him matched higher up the ladder. Maybe getting the likes of a chance against he's on PBC, isn't he? So maybe he gets a shot against who they got there, Frank Sanchez. I mentioned him last night, possibly. Who else you got there? It's PBC. Andy Ruiz. Don't know if that's maybe two. Yeah,
Ruiz, I think he's fighting Hrgovic in an IBF eliminator. They were saying.
Oh, right, okay. What about the big Canadian then? Makhmudov. Aslan Makhmudov.
I thought you were going to say Simon Keane for a second there.
He needs to fight somebody like a Johnny Rice caliber guy first. He's not quite there yet.
Yeah, that's maybe fair. Yeah, I wasn't that impressed in Makhmudov in his last fight. I can't remember who it was against, but I was thinking, don't really like the look of him. I think Jalalov looks the better of the two.
Well, I was just going to mention another name there, but it's pointless at this point. It's different promotional companies. So, what else we got? I'm just looking at the rankings here.
I think they will fight people. That's the good thing, isn't it? Sanchez, for all of his faults as well, they know that they're not going to get opportunities fighting that way. So you're going to have to put it in after 8, 9, 10 fights and really go for it. That's the good thing about these guys.
Yeah. Another thing as well is I think they're going to have to take a risk as well, because obviously I think dates are starting to dry up. TV dates and that as well are drying up. Maybe not as many shows. The same amount of money's not there to be made anymore than that as well. So they're going to have to fucking take every opportunity they can get their hands on. Yeah, I've just seen here that Pero's actually ranked 6th with the BA. So that puts him in line with, like, say, Makhmudov, Joshua, Wilder and Bacoli. The number 1 spot being vacant. So who's Dubois meant to be fighting soon? We're talking about him fighting somebody.
He's got to get his fucking shit repaired first. That is ACL torn in that fight.
Did he? Was that confirmed in the end, yeah?
I think so.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't heard anything for Dubois. If I have, I've forgotten about it.
Oh, there was some fight that we're talking about.
Throw it in the chat if you can remember. I'm not sure.
Hey, Andy, what do you think? What do you think is drier? Television dates for boxing or the women that Gad speaks to?
The woman that Gad speaks to.
Hey, friend of the pod, Gad, saying no more, but flip me, we're all fans of the Gad now. There he is.
Gad the radish.
Oh dear. Matty, just before we move on, the prelims were available, but I looked down it and I wasn't really that impressed, man. I do like a prelim with the PBC usually. And
how did Martial look, mate? Did you see that one?
I didn't see any of them. Didn't watch him in the end.
I didn't watch him either.
No.
That Martial, that's one. I'm sure it was one of Pacquiao's prospects.
Oh, is he right? I didn't recognise the name. I recognised Claudio Moreira, and I thought, no, I don't.
He was at the Olympics. I think he might have medalled, possibly maybe a silver.
Is he the guy who goes life and death with everybody he fights? Is that the kid? And he fights journeymen and like gets knocked down.
Aye. Well, see, in one of these fights, I think it was he's fighting against Isaiah Hart. He got dropped 3 times, right? One in the 4th round. Look at the fucking scorecards. I think he got knocked down 3 times. 29-26.
Oh, I should have watched that. Then I didn't realise that was him. To be honest,
that was him. Oh, I think when he come back to win it by the fourth round stop, it was fucking well shady. By the way, a very shady stoppage.
yeah,
He was definitely on
Ema,
the road to get beat
Felix,
there. Like.
Martial, yeah. Oh, I would have watched that actually if I'd have realised that. Yeah, he gets knocked down by everybody. Anyway, let's have a look who's hanging around in the chat. Des is there. He says Dubois is having ACL surgery. We wish him well. MB's there in the chat as well. So is Clouds Gaming. Christmas. Frenchie's there. Yimmy Yappy. Johnny. MB. We mentioned him already. Grime is with us. So is Northern Monkey. Michael Thompson. Jim McDonald Boxing. Go and subscribe to Jim McDonald Boxing's channel. He's doing some good stuff over there. Chris Butler. Big A. He's always worth a word or two in the chat as well.
Before he went to prison, he was small A.
Oh, he was, yeah. But me. He's wide open now. Callum B. Shout out to him. Let's have a look. Mark Stanton. He comes by from time to time. Who else have we got then? Just scrolling on up. See if we can find some new names. Not really. Same old shite every week. Ben Russell's here as well. Shout out to Boxing Channel. And hashtag Ben Thompson. Ben Thompson's there. Oh, Take Ames. He's sliding in there like a little fiend. Look at him. There he is. Take Ames. Gents, evening to you, Take Ames. He may or may not feature later on. Stick around to the Bellew of the Week. He might have an interesting clip for us. I'll say no more. Let's move on to the action. Oh, go on.
Ben Thompson thinks this podcast sucks ass.
Oh, does he? Oh, thanks very much, Ben. This podcast sucks ass. He's put 2 little hashtags in there. He censored himself. Oh, Ben. You must be better than that. Welcome. You got no credibility if you censor yourself like that, Ben. Come on, man. You're better than that.
This is a weird place, Ben. If it's not for you, I respect that. But I have a hunch.
Sucks abs, says Thomas Newman. We've been here 510 episodes. You've only just worked that out, Ben.
Who sucks ass, man? Did you any use blokes with suck nipples or anything like that, no?
Not lately, Andy.
Lately. Tossing that lettuce, that's what I'm doing.
Take Aim says, just woke up, knackered from the week. Hit that like. Hopefully Chuck will slide in as well later. You're all very welcome. We love you all. There he is, Ben. He's giving us a laughy face. We love you too. Let's go on to the domestic scene, the domestic market, as I call it. I've got it down as Dan Aziz here. He didn't even fight. That's how up to date with the things I am. Zach Chelly getting a unanimous 10-round decision win over Anthony Sims Jr. Tyler Denny as well defeating Brad Pauls. Caroline Dubois beat Farish Mashori. Vidal Riley was on the card too, so was Jordan Reynolds. But we'll start with Adam Azim, Matty. Apparently he hurt his hand in the second round. He wasn't able to get rid of Santos Reyes. As you'll know in the Boxing Nutters Messenger group, I gave Reyes very little credit. I said there's no way this guy's going to last more than 3 rounds. He has the look of someone who's going to get banged out and turn up in Paisley Leisure Centre in 2 years' time with 23 losses. I was wrong. He was basic. He couldn't punch, and he didn't get very close to Azim for the most part over the 10 rounds. But he was a tough guy, and this is exactly what Azim needed.
Yeah, it's good to go the rounds. The over-under on it was 3.5. You got to give credit to Joe Burns, man. He went and tossed a $5 at the Azim by decision. Got like 7-1 on that one. So real good pick on that one by Joe Burns. Get a few good ones in the Nutters group there. There's some real clever boxing predictions that happen there.
You gotta scrape through the shit with your bare fingers, though, haven't you, to find it, Matty?
Well, yeah, I'm in there talking, so I mean, just ignore me, and then there's others that you should listen to. But it was, as for Reyes, as recently as 2 years ago, Steve fought just slightly over 126 pounds. And I'd kind of like to see him go back there. I don't think he's without ability. I just think he was completely outsized, and he did what he had to do to survive against a larger man. He threw a few good hooks in there. But he made Azim just look very basic. And I know people are trying to see the positives out of it, but when you're talking about really at the end of the day, a super featherweight in there with you, and you're putting your shots together like Azim was, I don't think he's quite the puncher that his early record would suggest, Steve. And I as much as people might be feeling him, I think he's going to find himself topped out somewhere around British European level. Decent enough fighter though, just not the goods.
Yeah, which is a decent level, but obviously everyone's aspiring to world level these days. Big A says, no one will listen to me, but Azim will get found out sooner rather than later. We had a question coming in. Was it this one from Thomas Smith? It might be. I think it's relevant, Matty. I'm going to stick with you here. Thomas Smith emailed into nuthouspodcast@gmail.com and he said, "Hi, fellas. Who do you see going further, Dalton Smith or Adam Azim? I'm a big fan of both, and I guess it depends on how they react under serious pressure. Though Azim has that knockout power and Smith has the ring smarts. Curious to hear your thoughts." I'm sticking with you on this one, Matty, because Dalton Smith is actually fighting next week on the...
Steve, where'd you go? Steve.
Yes, can you hear me?
There we go.
Do you know what happened? I'll tell you what happened, right? I went on the box rec and an advert come on and started playing jingly jangly music. And I couldn't get rid of it.
He's raging. I can hear it.
So who's Dalton Smith fighting?
Sorry, Dalton Smith's fighting Billy. Beware, everybody, about box rec. It's playing adverts with music on. Dalton Smith is fighting Billy Aylington next week on the Zone. And Aylington, Matty, has 4 draws on his record. So this is definitely a fighter for you.
Oh, dude, a man after my own heart, Steve. God bless him. God bless him.
But what I was saying was, I don't know whether you heard this or not. Yeah, it sounded like feeding the ducks, actually, to be honest, Michael Thompson. We have the chance to... We saw Azim last weekend. We're seeing Dalton Smith on the Zone next weekend, so we can compare the two. But you're maybe not really feeling Azim. I'm going to let you off if you haven't seen that much of Dalton Smith, because it is kind of UK domestic market fare.
Well, let me just say, because I think I've seen some of Smith, but some of the stuff just kind of blurs together. We start watching so much, Steve.
Mm.
But if you're talking about what you see as the difference is that Azim has power and Smith has ring smarts, I'm going with Smith because if he does have some good ring IQ, I'm taking that over the presumed power of Azim, which I think is limited.
I think Dalton Smith can punch as well a little bit, but I'm afraid to go on box rack now and try to find out. So maybe somebody in the chat can let me know. Slappy Gilmore says, "Good question, Thomas Smith. It's so hard to say, in my opinion, especially this early on. Azim was a bit disappointing last night. Maybe he's a victim of his own success and we expect him to get the KO. Quite possibly, Andy. I don't know where you stand on this one. A few boys in the Boxing Nutters Messenger group were suggesting Azim could maybe fight the guy Smith beat in his last fight, Casey Benjamin. He's only 8-0, Azim. He's knocking people out on Sky. I think they're going to give him these kind of Reyes opponents, but maybe guys who can be knocked out for a bit longer before they step him up, because it's building a bit of hype at the moment, isn't it?"
Well, just when that Casey Benjamin, that was the one that Dalton Smith fought for the British title, was it not?
That's right,
was it a title defence, and he was absolutely... He wasn't... I wouldn't say they didn't look great, but a lot of people were down on his performance, and it was like everything else. He was a hot shit, like 2, 3, 4 fights. Previously he was winning them all by stoppage, and then he gets that fight, 12-round decision. I think it was quite tight, maybe 1 or 2 scorecards possibly, and they've kind of like this is what's wrote him off. But I just thought he was maybe it was a mere performance. I agree with what Matty was saying initially when he was getting his take on the fight, and that I think there's a ceiling. I'm not sure about if it's British, European, minor world level on that, but I take the point. He had the Nicaraguan. I expected him to win by stoppage purely because he was fighting Nicaraguan, and you didn't know what you're going to get with the guys. But usually they're cannon fodder for everyone that I've seen fighting, especially in Scotland. There's been a few in the recent years that have been obbing shite. Even Josh Taylor had one when he fucking fought coming up. I think was it Winston Campos. Either way, when he had him going. Was it the second round? He had him down, second, third round with the hook. I'm expecting him to finish the show, and he didn't do it. And then by about round 8, I'm switched off. I was bored. I went away and fired up the PlayStation and just fucking got a game of FIFA on. Honestly, yeah, I was bored of that shit, man. I got bored. I says, "You should be winning this." He was winning the fight, obviously, handily, but there was elements in that performance came across. It was like a bit like, what do you call him? The Welsh guy. Not Joe Cardina. Oh, the one... Josh Kelly, a wee bit kind of element of that, a wee bit kind of admiring his work a little bit too much, I felt, and I just think once he goes up in class and that, when you see the stiff resistance, maybe you might see him maybe unravel slightly. I take the point as well with Dalton Smith. I can remember his last few fights; didn't he look fantastic in his last one? But I also agree with what Matty was saying. You get any boxing trainer, you say, right, okay, you got a guy here who can punch, or you got a guy here who can box. Who you want to fight? Most of them will say that I'll take the puncher, because that the guy who's got the ring smarts and the technician can probably do the 12 rounds at a decent lick, or is able to manage himself and think himself through that fight.
But also,
It's
Andy,
the
sorry
other
to
guy.
interrupt you. As the boys are saying in the chat there, Smith is he can punch a bit too. 75% KO, 10 KOs out of 13. So he's not a feather-fisted guy either.
There you go.
Azim's got 75% KO now. He's 8-0 with 6 KOs.
Yeah,
there you go, 75%.
So you're looking at, again, it's going to come down to levels. That power will be respectable at a certain level. It's the guys that can take the punishment and still kind of put it back on you, and that's when you start to see what these guys have got. Because you're thinking, you know yourself, if you've ever landed a good punch in your life, then you think, yeah, that's a good one. He's fucking felt that, and it comes right back at you like, fucking hell, man, what's going on here?
She's got a good chin on her, to be fair.
Yeah, and you feel that you start hitting them more, and the hands start to get sore, and that you say that this isn't worth it, man. I ain't getting paid for this shit. But yeah, as I say, Azim it was a bit like watching paint layer last night. After maybe 6 rounds, I says, nah, you've got to have this guy out of here, I think. But you say 10 decent rounds, I suppose. Maybe I'm doing the Nicaraguan a little bit of injustice. Maybe he was a decent enough fighter. But I just felt once you had him on the hook, I thought that's when you show, how much of a killer you are, or if you've got that instinct to fucking end the fight like that when you get a chance. Because sometimes, if you get a fighter hurt and he takes it and he's somehow able to turn the tables on you, and then you're going to regret that fucking moment when you didn't put the foot down and try and get him out of there. So, as for the two fighters themselves, as I still go back to my original point about the boxer and the puncher. Most guys are going to take the puncher because they think, is he going to be able to go 10, 12 rounds and that type of thing. But at this point, I would probably take Dalton Smith. But again, it's too early in their careers at this point to kind of label who's going to have the better career. Because again, I think it's going to come down to opportunities and that as well as who they fight. But
I'll tell you this much: I don't think it's like you're talking like if they meet early in their careers, it's like the equivalent of like Groves and DeGale meeting, or even Saunders and Eubank Jr.
No, it's even earlier than that. I would favour Smith though at the moment, Andy. Definitely more seasoned.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Definitely.
Okay, someone made a good point in the chat. I was about to bring it up and now I've forgotten about it, so we shall move on very swiftly. Rapping Rob Kelly has jumped on the call just in time, actually, Rob. We were talking a bit of Adam Azim there, but I want to give you a pat on the back and a shout out. Zach Chelly getting the win over Anthony Sims. Anthony Sims rocking that nice little haircut there, a bit like Williams out of Enter the Dragon, but he was far too passive for me. Chelly got the jab going, got the grab in. Matty's unhappy about it, Rob, but I think Chelly was a much worthy winner.
Jab and grab, baby. Looking at it, I thought maybe it was gearing up that he wasn't going to get it on the cards, just by the way that I don't know. I just had a sneaky feeling he wasn't going to get it, but yeah, he did okay. He did okay. I thought there wasn't going to be much between them, but Chelly, like you said, once he got on the jabs, seems to really have an answer for it. Not much head movement, and then not much kind of. Wasn't able to get much leverage in the inside when he was getting held as well. So maybe a little bit of ring IQ. He got old-manned a little bit, but I thought Chelly was a worthy winner in the end. Did
you catch anything else on that card, Rob? We were talking about Azim trying to prize
open. I expected a short night's work there. To be honest with you, the card was poor. It was poor. It was like a poor man's old Sky card. Ben Shalom even had one of Eddie's old outfits on him now that Eddie's casted off his old outfits and started dressing younger. Ben Shalom was going around in that old Dr. Evil outfit that Eddie used to wear. It was very much like a fucking poor version of an old Sky card. The whole main card was basically the support card for an old style Sky pay-per-view. One of those ones that starts mad early. Right? Yeah, that was a decent fight, but the rest of it was shocking, man. Caroline Dubois and everything. I think the Azim fight just showed there's work to be done there. Not everybody's going to go away. You can't just load up and take people out. It's going to have to find different ways to work against different styles. You're going to have to pace yourself a lot different. And your man's tough as fuck. He just kept on having a second win, just coming back to life. It was you know what I mean? It was he's forcing the pace. He's a hard bastard, but it would have done him good in his career. He's only very, very early in his career, but high hopes for him still, but an underwhelming night out. I'm not writing him off or whatever, but there's a lot of recency bias in boxing, especially on these cards. Boxer are trying to make something. You would have wanted a better showing in that form. You would have wanted to put the exclamation point on it and make himself a little bit more exciting to the casual. I'm not sure Points Win does that it doesn't does his stock any good, but it doesn't do it any harm either because he's so early in his career. But it's just like, I don't know, the whole thing was a little bit underwhelming, being honest. No shots at Azim. I think he's a good fighter, but the whole car was stunk a bit, to be honest with you.
It felt like everything was fine up until the main event, and then that should have been stronger. I think the only time he really caught Reyes was when he opened himself up and he hit him with that shot at the top of the head, dropped him in the second round. Apart from that, Reyes was very, very defensively responsible.
Yeah, well, he was I don't know, he was there to hang in there, wasn't he? Like, I don't know, the whole thing was fucking, it was just an average enough card, man, really, like a card best forgotten about, to be honest with you.
Yeah, let's forget about it before we move on to the undercard. Quickly tell us about Vargas Foster. Did you see any of that Showtime card, Rob?
Well, my man Osaki came through with the wacky backy and got it done, didn't he? Like, Osaki Foster. Like, I was like a bit like you. I was waiting on Vargas to lose, and I just thought that was going to be the time, that way. He'll probably move up weight, so he was protesting. I didn't see much of it. I just saw some clips back, but he was protesting the closeness of the decision. But again, nothing to write home about. Like, apart from having a perfect week in the prediction league, that's
you done well, Rob. Go on, bask in the glory, man. That was brilliant.
What am I now? How many points am I ahead now, Maddie?
Well, Oz also had a good week. I think he picked Kelly or Chelly on points. I'll have to go back and make sure. But if he did, you got a 5 up on him. You got a 5 up on him because he also had a perfect week because we let him change his pick in the chat, which everybody now regrets, I'm sure, you stupid bastards. You and your charitable way of thinking.
Yeah, well, nobody cares anyway.
Good job, Robbie. Yeah, back-to-back perfect weeks, man. Like fucking fire, buddy.
I'm more interested in Joe Kennedy's prediction league, which I also did shit into. Fuck that too.
It's fantastic. and do you know what's great about that league is you have a chance to get in on the fun. It's kind of like if you do like fantasy football, either your version of football or our version of football, kind of the same thing. And we're doing seasons. But you got to join the Patreon first to do that. And then you can hop in and we can give you the details on that. And I really wish that you guys, well, Steve's in there too, but I really wish that Rob would hop in there and join that too. Because I think it would be in the Nutters group. So you could do the league out of there.
I don't know why I'm not in the Nutters group. Why am I not in it? What did I do wrong?
You don't want to, Rob. 700 messages in the morning, Rob. I'm trying to save you here.
Yeah, no, I'm all right. I'm in enough fucking group chats, man, to be honest with you. I couldn't give a fuck if somebody else asked me to another fucking group chat. Jesus, Mary and Joseph. We've got 3 group chats in the Asylum. We've one on Twitter, one on Facebook, and one on WhatsApp. We can't get a fucking common medium fucking ground for all of us to be on at the same time. Fucking hell.
You know, in the Telegram group, Rob, no?
No, I'm not in the Telegram group yet. I have to hold on.
We've got Matty breeding pigeons so we can get a pigeon carrier in case the internet ever crashes for us and that as well,
Oh, it's all about encrypted. Right, Matty, let's move back onto this undercard then underneath Azim. Albert Ross said, Sims looking over to his corner all the time always concerns me. Looked like he had a knee brace or wraps on as well, yeah. He's got the knee brace keeping him together, held together by sellotape. He's always looking for that reassurance from his corner. As Des said, Sims performs exactly how he looks, laid back, stoned, and preoccupied. You had a bit of a different take on this. You weren't happy with the referee, Michael Alexander, and some of the antics of Chelly. Matty, do you explain?
I was unhappy with about 800 fucking things during that fight, Steve, and I'm very upset at you for making me relive it again, but I will go through my grievances. 1, I am really annoyed by fights where the fighters consistently go long, as in they throw a punch beyond their opponent's head because they're moving towards each other, and then they go into a clinch. And that's what happened, is every time that Chelly missed with that long right hand, he would just loop it over Sims and hold him. And that would happen upwards of a dozen or more times around. And then if he would land on him, he would go ahead and just use his left hand to wrap up Sims. And I figure at some point in time, you have to warn a fighter about holding in order to keep a flow of action, because it is an entertainment industry. Notice in the Barrios versus Santiago fight that the ref issued a warning about holding, and the fight was able to catch fire from there, and the outcome ended up being an entertaining one. Also, Sims has the mentality of a sparring partner. He reminded me of Shaw against Ajagba or Jonathan Banks against Seth Mitchell the second time. The only time he really showed signs of life was the 8th round. He has the wrong mentality, and the right guy won. The scorecards were a little ridiculous because I think you had to give the 8th to Sims and then probably the first couple, maybe even the 3rd. But he didn't win that fight. It was just an obnoxious style matchup. And it's one that the ref could have made better if he was willing to take a point, and he should have, because that holding was just excessive, and it was mostly initiated by Chelly. But that said, Sims doesn't have the mentality of a winner. So as much as I'm disappointed about missing a teeny little parlay I had, and as much as I'm be a little disappointed about missing the prediction league, or as annoyed as I was watching that fucking fight, all 10 goddamn miserable fucking rounds of it, the right guy won. And Chelly should go on to something better. He definitely has a level, believe you me. But Sims has a sparring partner mentality, and if he wants to treat these opportunities like that, he needs to go back to being a sparring partner.
Anthony Sims, was that not the guy that had a meltdown at Eddie, and he was like,
yeah, Eddie blocked his number, didn't he? Now we know why.
Yeah, I know. I fucking doesn't do nothing.
He'd be on the Hobson car park next, Andy. He wants to base himself in the UK. He says need to get him in against Maximus or Dave Allen.
Mate, if he's in fucking one of Dennis's fucking car parks at a boxing event, he'll be in the back seat with some slapper. Because it'll no be in the fucking boxing ring where anybody wants to see him, by the way.
He'd never deliver. He'd never finish him.
I suppose Suppose that. Is that it? Well, fucking hell.
Oh my gosh. Shout out to Joe Burns. He says, Matty wishes his last held him like Chelly did to Sims. Hashtag give me happy fingers.
That's quality. That's quality.
That is good, isn't it?
Hey, Joe, thank you for sharing some of those, some of the wins that you got on Azim by decision. Appreciate that, buddy.
Brilliant stuff. You were mentioning Tyler Denny, Brad Pauls. Matty, do you want to give us a quick rundown? Anything else on the card, Sky card, undercard before we move on?
I thought the fight between Tyler Denny and Brad Pauls was a good fight. One where Pauls had his moments, but Denny clearly took over. Another show of where a guy has gotten better on the job and is starting to find new levels to his game. I think that he's really clever in how he finds his gaps. He throws some good feints. He uses his foot feints well to kind of bait you into thinking he's coming in, and finds a gap from there. He's a good inside fighter, but he's also willing to kind of take some time and back away, take little breathers. He's not running in fifth gear all the time. And I think what you saw from him in the later rounds, you see a 12-round fighter in Tyler Denny as well. A very well-matched fight. I think it was an English title possibly on that one, Steve. But it was a good enough fight where the right guy clearly won. And I do think that Tyler Denny is going to be an interesting figure in the British middleweight scene coming up. And I'm curious about how the rest of his year might shape up, because I think they could be leaning him towards obviously British Commonwealth or maybe even a European belt, which he could very well challenge for, because he's a good operator. I'm impressed with him.
Yeah, British maybe. I'm not sure beyond that. I know he's had a couple of rough rides in the past, the fights with River, Wilson, Bent. He found his level against Udofia that time, and he's a kind of Channel 5 fighter, but he's on a good run now. He beat Wilson Bent in the rematch. Got that win over, Bradley Ray in his last fight, and beaten another unbeaten opponent. In this one, Brad Paul. So anyone called Brad, you don't want to go near Tyler Denny because he'll beat your ass. And yeah, he's grounded out the hard way. Maybe he'll get a European title shot in the future like Oshaki Foster. Andy, you were watching something on Friday night that I neglected to mention. Sean McGoldrick against Scott Allen in Cardiff, Wales. I don't know how you managed to catch hold of this one. I remember seeing McGoldrick fighting on the Belfast undercard years ago, back in the days of MGM Marbella. You might remember them. Wasn't really impressed by McGoldrick. He went through the motions a little bit, but it sounds like it was a pretty exciting fight, this actually.
Yeah, the undercard fight was certainly good. The Rashid Omar, I'm talking about the Welsh card, sorry. There was two cards on Friday night. There was one between Rotherham, I think it was. One was on Boxing Social, one was on another channel on YouTube I'd never heard of before. But the pick of the fight for me on that card in Wales was Rashid Omar against Conor McIntosh for the Welsh area title, sorry. It was really hard fought battle, as you expect at that level, at least. Now, two guys undefeated, 3-0 against 5-0. Omar deducted a point. I think it was late in the fight anyway as well, but he won it on a point, 95-94. The referee was a sole arbitrator there, but the decent fight. I think I tweeted it as well. Actually, if anybody's interested in watching decent domestic affair. McGoldrick against Allen watches because Scott's a Scotsman, obviously, and that, but he's just not got the power. He's game enough, he's brave enough, but I thought McGoldrick was just a slightly level above him in that. I actually forgot these were actually the vacant belts that Lee McGregor had, so these belts have been contested now for over 3-4 years possibly. So hopefully the bantamweight belts are back on the scene now. As I said, we need to see these belts active. This is how you prove that you're the best in Britain rather than fucking talking about you're the best and that. Get these titles fought for on a regular basis and get moving up the levels and that. But I think McGoldrick now, let's say a couple of defences. Obviously, he's got to come back. Well, he's coming back for that Asomba defeat, which was a few years back now as well. But good to see him back in the saddle, winning belts. As for Scott Allen, that he's just going to be what he is really. It's just going to be a guy who'll take a fight on notice and he'll give you rounds. Just no slightly good enough, unfortunately, at British level. But he's got his place in the sport. I'm trying to think what else was on that card. Give me a second here. Also the catch. I think I was kind of be flipping back and forward actually, to be fair, but I wasn't really catching up a lot on the other card because there was a few women's fights on there that I didn't watch, and I think I might have caught a bit of. I'm trying to remember what I fucking seen again. I think it was a heavyweight fight or possibly on that card that I maybe caught, but the main event, which was Reece Mould, that was not on until fuck knows what time it was, mate. I was shagged on Friday night, man. I don't know, it was about 11 o'clock. I was ready for my pit. I don't know if it was like maybe even it was like a Frank Warren show. It just seemed to run forever, mate. They even had like say on the YouTube channel, and that was what it was. Flipped back and forward, and they had a fucking section where there was actually had an auction, Floyd Mayweather stuff, and like trunks and gloves and that type of thing. So I must have tuned out of that card entirely. I just thought, shit. And there was only like at the time I seen the live viewers. There was only like fucking 30 folk watching it at the time. Whereas the Boxing Social was doing about 6,000. So it wasn't a great fair. But I think Ben was the same. And anyway, in the end, Reece Mould won the English title on some sort of WBA bubble by a UD in over 10 rounds.
Has the English title been done over 10 rounds all this time?
10 rounds.
Yeah.
10
okay.
Rounds, yeah.
For some reason, I thought it was 12. Okay.
Area belts, mate. So you've got the Scottish, Welsh, and English have always been fought over 10 rounds. It was always the stepping stone to start stepping up to championship level, which was the British and Commonwealth title, which is 12 rounds after that.
Okay.
So that was your general step up. English, or area as we call them, area titles. English, Southern area, Scottish, Welsh, and they say you've got other kind of regional area belts in England. So you've got like the Southern area, Northern. I don't know if you've got the Northern area belts these years. This time I think it might just be the English and that. So that was how you stepped it up, 10 rounds to 12 rounds.
Okay.
Yep, they used to move you on up, and Irish title was 10 rounds as well. So that's the way they got you going. Matty, I know you managed to see this one as well. Al Siesta, an old friend of the pod over in Rotherham, putting this fight on. Hurricane Hamed Gaz from Afghanistan against Reece Mould, friend of Ben. Don't think he's ever been on with us, but he's fought at a decent level in the past. I've never really been that familiar with Mould, but he's growing on me, Matty.
He's a decent enough fighter, it seems to me. I enjoyed this fight. I thought it had some good back and forth. It had some a couple of changes in momentum. It almost looked early like Mould was going to be able to stop Gaz. And later on, it seemed the Gaz hurt Mould. It was honestly a good fight. I wish Oz was here because this would definitely be one of those fights that he raves about. It was definitely the goods for the English title. I think Gaz is a good enough fighter, but obviously his level is there. I'd be vaguely curious. This is just a thought in my head. I mean, I'm obviously don't have the intimate knowledge of the fights going on there that you, but I'd be curious enough to see Reece Mould in against Maxie Hughes. I don't know what you guys would think about that, but that's a fight I'd be curious about.
Are they not teammates? Because isn't Mould part of the whole Warrington camp and Maxie Hughes?
I just told you I'm not as intimate with that stuff as you guys. Fuck if I know.
Well, I don't know whether I am either, to be honest.
Well, there you go. So
teammates should fight each other, man. I'm sick of this bullshit about being pals. We need to get in and beat the shit out of each other. They're some of the best scraps.
Yeah, and I mean, if you guys are really friends, you should want each other to make a good payday, shouldn't you? Like, you win. It's like just have to punch each other in the face. Fuck it.
Yeah, their teammates. Take Ames has confirmed that. I thought that.
See,
get him in.
Because am I right? That seems like a decent enough fight, doesn't it? And they can't. It's bullshit.
I know it is bullshit.
Stepping on my dreams.
Yeah. Reese Mole, Dreams on a Sunday evening for Matty DiGialinardo. He's here for episode 510 alongside me, Steve, Andy Patterson, and rapping Rob Kelly. We have a few questions before we look ahead to next week. I think it's a bit of a bare week. The cupboard is lying bare.
Steve, real quick though, because everybody wanted us to laugh at me and my bets all the time, and we had to joke at me and my parlays. But I was just sitting around, just putting a couple of bucks here and a couple of bucks there, and so I lost that parlay, the one that involves Sims Jr. And I also put a little bit on a draw for Oshaki Foster against Ray Vargas. Couldn't help it, I just felt it could be a draw, but I also won on over 3.5 rounds for Azim against Reyes. I also won on Carolyn Dubois to win in rounds 3 to 4. I also won on Pero against Faust to go over 6.5 rounds. I also won on under 8.5 rounds in the Barrios fight and over 10.5 in Foster versus Vargas. So suck my dick. And I took a little bit of that and I rolled it into just a junk bet on Lee Wood to win in rounds 10 through 12 at 25 to 1.
Matty, I'll be disappointed. I told you earlier, if you don't get on the draw, Dalton Smith, man. Billy Aylington has 4 draws on the record. It's going to be 5. Come on.
Steve, I love putting $2-3 on a draw. They pay like 20 to 1. It's a fun bet. Who cares if you lose $2? You watch it with bated breath and you might win 40. That's fun. What else can you do with $2 these days? I mean, for the love of God.
Dr. FMG says this sounds an awful lot like the old I could give up the drink any time about it. I think you're betting too much, Matty. The boys are worried about you.
I haven't ran out my accounts even close though, and it's like I'm up lifetime. So like, why do I care? It's like I explained, it like comes down to like a $5 a week hobby. Who cares?
He's having fun, Doctor. Leave him alone.
Yeah, it's a great fun. Yeah, it's nice to have a vested interest in it. We'll get in the game. You root a little bit harder. You pay a little bit more attention. You might even get pissed off and throw your remote at the couch because this fucking asshole keeps holding over and over again. It just makes the emotions run higher.
Yeah, everyone's got to have a hobby, boys, man. Matty loves losing money. Just leave him to it. He's not hurting anybody.
Costs less money than people going to the bar, let me tell you.
I tell you what, I was in the bar yesterday, actually. This guy came in to play the bandit. Fucking £20 note and done it in fucking 2 minutes, right? He was fucking raging. When he realised he had a fucking he had a spare £5 in his pocket, took it out, banged it in, won a £200 jackpot. Out he walked like fucking John Wayne, man. Fucking prick. I fucking threw my pint right at his fucking mush, man. Fucking smug fucker.
At least he walked out. I seen a boy win it before, Andy, about 200 quid, like you said, and he just stood there and he put a pound in and a pound before you know it, he put the whole fucking lot back in again.
Fucking muppet, man. I was like, oh, you cunt, I fucking known you 15 years. Didn't buy me a pint, you fucking cunt. He's a degenerate gambler like Matty, though. He just loves to lose money, man.
I won money this week.
It was he even put a fucking century on England to win the World Cup, man. I was like, dude, the fact is you bet £100 on England to win the World Cup, that just shows you like losing money because you bet on England to win the World Cup. Guess what you get back on it? 0. No, I'm talking about the guy yesterday.
Oh.
Absolutely fucking 0.
It's like, why would I bet on England to win the World Cup? That's a stupid bet.
You were betting on Brighton and how many corners they were getting the other week, weren't you,
I didn't bet on how many corners they got. I just bet on them to beat Liverpool, and I won. It was great. And like, I don't know what it is, but like, when bad things happen to Liverpool, Matt wins. Like Warrington, etc., etc. It's been good.
He's enjoying himself. That's the main thing, boys. Liam Wynn's throwing in a question here. Roberto, if you want to tackle this one. He says, Shane McGuigan is no doubt a good trainer, but fighters keep leaving him. What do we think the reason is? His dad's influence, perhaps.
What is that supposed to mean?
I'm saying nothing. I'm just asking the questions, Rob.
I don't know where he's going with that. Like, do people leave Shane McGuigan because of his dad's influence? I don't know what his dad's influence is on any of these fighters. Like, what's Barry McGuigan's influence on Josh Taylor? Say, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'm not sure.
He's a good trainer, isn't he, Shane? I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah, Exactly. His resume speaks for itself, doesn't it? Like, he's generally improved any fighter that's gone to him. He's taken fighters from scratch and built them up, and done a good job with them. And he's come in late stage careers of other fellas and done a good job with them as well. Like, so he seems to know his shit. He's very dedicated to it and all that. Like, and yeah, he seems to be like a kind of one of the top trainers in Britain at least. So no knocks to him. Like, I don't know honestly, I don't know enough to comment on like Barry McGuigan's relationship with any of those fighters or what that would be like. So.
And Rob sidestepping this, like when I wanted to talk about the Gypsy feud that ended in a stabbing, and you guys like, no, we can't do that.
no, it's not. I'm not like, because honestly, I didn't really read too much into like the McGuigan Frampton situation, so I know what the allegations are, but like and the outcome of it. But like, I never fucking like really gave it a second thought. Like, boxing is fucking shady. Like, what's the, you know what I mean? Newsflash. Like, your promoter or manager may try to rip you off. Like, it's an age old story. So I didn't really put too much stock into it. So I don't know like what McGuigan is like. You don't really see Barry out that much these days. Maybe he's keeping a low profile. Since his,
he was there last night, wasn't he? He was at ringside last night, wasn't he?
Was he? Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't. Yeah, I haven't. But I don't see him giving like many fucking Vox Pops or whatever, like, or video.
Yeah, I can think of 3 million reasons for that, mate.
to be fair, ringside is the lowest height seat in the arena, so that is kind of a low profile. I mean,
I think it's all circumstantial. Obviously, the Frampton and Taylor situations because of MTK, and then Coley's a bit of a free spirit. He's going over sparring in America, so rather than, I don't think it's a knock on Shane's abilities. I think each individual case has its merits, and a lot of people will find a lot of joy with him. I've had my issues with him in the past, but I think he is a very good trainer. And he gets people into good shape, so shout out to the Liam Wynn for that one.
Who's left him anyway, apparently? Who's left him? Sorry, I missed
we know about Frampton Taylor, but Coley apparently has gone off. But I think he's just gone off Andy to train with, like, in America or something they were saying. I don't know the ins and outs. Sugar Hill, yes,
that's right. I've seen a picture of it too. That's right. Sorry.
Didn't you say that he'd be a good trainer for him sometime, Andy? Why do I think you might have said that? Even it was
a few months back, was it? No?
Might even been a couple of weeks back. We talk about a lot of shit. It all runs together. All right.
But it makes sense now you mentioned it. Something kind of jogs my mind about that. Sorry.
Yeah, Andy. Moving the news cycle, Dr. FMG has thrown in a question here, Matty. He says, Warrington's career took a nosedive after having Ebony Bridges on the pitch at Leeds. Likewise, Kell Brook, his career took a nosedive as well. He's in a spot of he's in a spot of bother after apparently getting together with her. The same could be said for Edward Hearns regarding his home life after taking her under his promotional wing. So my question is, Matty, might Ebony Bridges' pussy be haunted?
The Duke of Wellington being a savage here,
Steve.
The only man could be.
I am going to sidestep this like gypsy stabbing.
Is Ebbs a bad omen, Andy?
I was going back to reread the question here. Morton's career took a nosedive after having it, but you should have fucking British nosedive on him, basically. Then maybe perked him up a wee bit. I don't know. At the end of the day, look, we all know what happened. They got caught against Lara, and that was it. It can turn a man's career round about pretty quickly. Kell Brook in a spot of bother, well, obviously in that, but I got any opinions on that. The guy likes to do what he wants, but that's the fucking prick who's took the fucking video. And then released it. That is a complete cunt in this one. Same could be said for Eddie Hearn regarding his home life. Well, I don't know. I really don't know what Eddie's home life is, to be fair. I don't know if he's been cheating or if it's a separation. And if it's a separation, then he can do what he wants. I don't really give a shit.
Do it anyway, Ed. Fuck him.
I know, mate.
Wish him
well. He likes that tighter pussy anyway, rather than slacker one. I tell you what tastes better? 41-year-old pussy or 25-year-old pussy?
He's thrown out lawsuits like fucking frisbees at the moment. Relax with you.
He's like Frank Warner now, allegedly. Eh?
Andy, you're bringing this question into disrepute, man.
I'm sorry, mate. I'm sorry.
Still got to taste better than Vegemite.
It's surely got to taste better than ass, if I can guarantee you. This podcast.
Where's Ben Wiseman?
I see he got banned on Twitter. I was looking for him the other day. That he got
did he?
Twitter. He's been banned. Wonder if that's illegal. Has been after him. He's just decided to ban his Twitter account. He's like, "Fuck you! I'm not paying you."
Oh gosh, did you ever have, Matty, anything to do with Ben Wiseman back in the day?
Yeah. I like
What was
Ben.
he like?
Ben's a decent enough guy. I think Ben's kind of a brutally honest East Coaster, and some people don't like him for that. But I always thought that he dealt honestly with people, and I respect that.
Yeah, for those that don't know, Ben was one of the originators, Matty, wasn't he? The
Here's a
original
question, Matty.
Him and Tommy founded Boxing Asylum when we had the site and the forum together. Yeah. Yeah. Yes,
on,
Andy?
No, I just reading it in the chat there, see if I can pull up the message again. Sorry, mate, I should have fucking... Aye, Slappy Gilmore, I don't know what's happening in these pussies, but it's not nice. Has anybody actually got an account to her OnlyFans to tell us what content is on there? And actually confirm if it's nice or not?
Fuck me.
So big fucking let's sign up to fucking watch Big Bird off Sesame Street. You're not paying for that. You want to fucking pay me? Fuck that.
Yes. Right, let's move on swiftly as we can to David Adelaide. No more natural place to move over to. This is more Aussies fair, so I'm just going to mention it. We're not going to get stuck into this because it's 9:25. David Adelaide against Dimitri Bezus, 10-0 WBO European heavyweight title. Mark Chamberlain's on the undercard as well. Next Friday night, Henry Turner. Carl Fail. There's a good name for you, Andy. Carl Fail. He's meant to go far in the boxing word with a surname like that.
Aye. Okay, what card's he on?
His nickname should be Epic.
What card's he on?
Oh, it's next Friday evening. It's BT Sport, I think. Frank Warren. It's one of those smaller cards. I'll probably tune in, but we're not going to go too much in depth. That's more Aussie's area, and he's not with us. He's swimming over in Belgium at the moment, so we'll leave that one alone. Matty, one for you next Friday evening as well, which I will watch on Saturday morning. Looking forward to it. Lou DiBella Showbox in Kansas. Not much boxing going on there. Kurt Scobie is on the undercard, and the main event is Adriel Holmes 12-0 against Ismail Villarreal 12-0. I know nothing about either of these guys, but I will say Peter Jimbor is a good low-level matchmaker. He's the matchmaker for this as well, so they're bound to be well matched. Showbox does come up with some good cards, actually.
Yeah, they come up with some good cards, and I'd be lying if I said I know much of anything about these guys either. But interestingly enough, that they're having this card in Kansas, Steve. I think that there is, excuse me, a fair bit of talent that has come out of Kansas. And maybe that's because has been a lot of Hispanic families who set up shop there because they started out as farm labor and then they settled in the area, much like where I come from. But you have guys like Brandon Rios from Kansas, Victor Ortiz from Kansas, that Alon Garcia that I was raving about that I saw on the Terrence Crawford card. Who's also going to be on the BLK Prime card in a couple weeks from Kansas. So interesting. Not going to be a hotbed for getting people to fly out to Kansas for fights, but it is curious that they're finding this talent around there. And it's a short drive, and if they keep this up, I'll find my way out there.
Yeah, when I hear Kansas, Matty, I don't think of good boxing. I think of like fat guys, 45 years old with 20 losses and that kind of thing. Am I being unfair?
Not really. Like the guy that's from 15 miles away from me is like the kind of guy you'd find in Kansas, the one that fought Eddie Chambers.
Oh yes, I've got a photo of him. I was going to put it up Belly of the Week, but I'll bring it up now. Actually, there you go. Looks like Billy Nelson going against Eddie. There he is on the screen.
Have you seen Billy Nelson these
yeah,
days? By the way, man,
there he is.
Fucking Jesus, man! Look
like
at that. I thought it was Steve Lillis at one point when I seen the fucking picture.
Go back to his picture again, Steve. It really looks like there's a fucking like BLM is facing off at Trump fucking supporters.
Look at Eddie. He's got like a look on his face like, what the fuck am I really fighting this guy?
You're like, it's that moment, if I lose this fight, I don't need to come back.
Oh, it looks a bit rough. Yeah, that was Corey. What do you call that fellow again? Corey something, isn't
Corey
it?
Williams, maybe?
I don't know. I know he's your mate, though, Matty. So good luck to him, I say. I think he got beat, didn't he, in the end?
He did. I just hope he doesn't listen to this podcast and fucking search me out.
Yeah. You can come on with us if you want, Corey. We've had worse. Anyway. Right, let's move on to the Nottingham Arena next weekend. Tom Dallas, I'm assuming that's the former heavyweight, does a lot of matchmaking out in Germany. He is with Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing. The main event is Lee Wood against Mauricio Lara. Before we get onto that, we'll have a look at the undercard. Gary Cully, Rob is on the undercard, 15-0 against Wilfredo Flores for the vacant WBA Intercontinental lightweight title. He's a big old unit, Cully. I'm not really sure he gets down to lightweight. He's got a tattooed neck, though. That's always a plus in my book, Rob.
It's always a strong indicator of good decision making. I think their neck tattoo, you know that way. It looks like a guy that thought everything through. When you come through with the neck tattoos, but you know it's all for the younger generation. I actually like Gary Cully. I think he's a good fighter.
He's a unit, and he can punch a bit too.
Yeah, he could probably go up the weight. I think you're right. He's a big guy at the weight. Like, don't know what much about the opponent here. Like, but I think like he could probably put himself. The thing about the 35 pounders at the moment is they're not really fighting each other, aren't they? So there might be some room to get kind of maneuver yourself into a position for a Mando, like there's somewhere along the lines. But I'm no doubt. Where is he from, Gary Cully? What town is he from?
I'm not sure actually where he's from now. Is he from Kildare? I can't even remember.
Yeah, well maybe they'll have it in the fucking from Nace, yeah. So Nace, yeah. So I've no doubt they'll have it at the Eddie will be fucking or whoever be looking to fucking have him fill a stadium in Kildare. That seems to be the talk, doesn't it? Like, you know, this fella's going to fill a stadium here and there. I don't know. I hope he gets an opportunity. No fights for you, sure. So yeah, no, I'm excited about him. I hope he does well on that platform and comes through with a knockout. But yeah, the neck tattoos are completely fucking throw me off, man, you bastard. Poor Gary.
Poor Gary. He's doing well. He's on Saturday evening. We've spoken about Dalton Smith against Billy Allington. That one's going on as well. It's not the strongest of cards in the world, but the main event, I'm looking forward to it. Lee Wood, 26-2 against Mauricio Lara, 25-2-1 WBA World Featherweight title. Is on the line, Matty. We saw the absolute barn burner between Lee Wood and Michael Conlon. He previously won the title from Kanzu by 12th round knockout. Many people thought he was avoiding this fight, but he's come back from injury. He's taken it, so fair play to him. Lara's a bit of a danger man, Matty. We don't really know his true level at the moment. He's given Josh Warrington those two hellish fights. What's he going to do to Lee Wood this Saturday evening, do you think?
I am really interested in this fight. I think that it could be a wipeout, Steve. It just could be. And because Lara, he punches hard, he punches with both hands. It's not like getting hit in the face by Mick Conlon. All right. The over-under is 5.5 rounds. And I think that if it gets past that this fight could end up being another late Wood victory. It is he's been absolutely stunning with the way that he's just come on late in these fights. That comeback against Conlon was phenomenal. There's a reason I put a few bucks on him to win rounds 10 through 12. I think that if he chooses to stand and trade early with Lara, he's going to regret it because he's going to get caught with something from some weird angle that Lara throws from, and he's going to get deposited on his ass, and he's going to get deposited hard. But if he's able to get through those early rounds, let those wide shots take the energy out of Lara, I think he might just pull it off 3 fights in a row, Steve.
That would be quite the effort if that happens, Andy. Chris Butler says a good point there. Wood punches too. He can punch. Yeah. He can maybe catch Lara coming in. But I think Wood, for as great as his rise has been, I think he's done absolutely fantastic. He is a bit of a rags to riches story. He's got his world title opportunity. He held on by the flipping skin of his dick against Michael Conlon at the end there. Absolutely fantastic fight. I think he's been overachieving. I think he's going to be very fit. He's going to be very strong. He's going to try to fight Lara as best as he can. But I just think around the 6th round, Lara's just going to be relentlessly punching him, and Wood's overachievement's going to catch up with him. I think Lara's going to knock him out, Andy.
I was giving this a wee bit of thought earlier on. Actually, I just don't know how they might approach it. Actually, I mean, obviously, I think Lara will probably come and do what he normally does. He's no finesses. He's usually kind of straightforward, and he'll come to fight. I wonder if Wood will try and just use that Ben Davison brain, and try and box and move and try and use his power at certain moments, because I don't think he really wants to get involved too early with this guy, at least. because you just don't know. I know he's been dropped a few times and that as well, especially the early part of his career, Lee Wood and that. So 34, definitely on the cusp of a wave, but I kind of side with Matty in that as well. I'm kind of thinking that Lara will get to him, but I just hope to fucking God we didn't get some sort of kind of shady type ending here, which we don't need. I mean, obviously we had the Lara getting cut against Warrington, and obviously no contest. No,
there was never any closure on that, was there? That would never satisfied me, those fights.
So we then need that because you can't what's going to happen here. Because it's a world title of some sort on the line here. We want to see it one clean, but I think Lara will probably break him down in the end, possibly get to him. But then Lara can cut as well. And again, I think he might have to go looking for Wood at times and that as well. I just think Wood will probably need to certainly use his brain, certainly need to use every inch of the ring at least. And as I say, jab and get the power shots working at the right time. I just think it's the constant pressure. It might just tell in the end. But again, as well, it might be a detriment to Lara if he keeps trying to kind of chase him down. He might just get caught with something himself. I'm just trying to remember if any of you seen Lara dropped in the last few fights since he came to prominence against Josh Warrington. If any of you went back and checked some of his fights and that. Possibly,
no, I don't think so. But I mean, every single fight he's been caught clean. That's for sure.
Yeah, and he seems to eat it, doesn't he? He doesn't seem to kind of be phased or budged.
He just walked through that Emilio Sanchez, wasn't he? He just kept on punching him till he disappeared.
But someone did mention he has got a stoppage defeat on his record, as you know. So I doubt there's copy it anywhere. Actually, it was at a Holiday Inn in fucking Durango somewhere in Mexico. So I fucking doubt there's footage.
First round. Things can get nasty at them Holiday Inns on a Friday night, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. I'll leave the story till later. It'll get but yeah, I just it involves fucking Bulldog again actually as well. But yeah,
again, the return of the Bulldog,
the fucking nutter man. That cockhead brains that rule the world. But I just think it's one of these fights where it could come down to where who's going to be a bit more intelligent on the night. I think Wood can pull it off. I just think it's one of these fights whereas you just need to let it play out to see how it goes in the end. But I still think Lara could probably do it. But I'm going to go Wood. He'll do it by the Nats cock or a tight, razor close majority decision.
Ooh, interesting. Kaiser Cobra, Andy said there is footage on Facebook of that stoppage, a body shot early.
Was that? There you go. Could be the fucking kryptonite then. The body shots. If anybody's messaged that onto Ben Guardiola, if he hasn't picked it up on it so far, then the body shot could be the fucking kryptonite for Mr. Lara. So we'll wait and see. I'm trying to remember. It was Colin that had fucking Wood down.
Yeah,
badly
left hand
hurt,
in the first round. Yeah,
ready to go away. He was badly hurt. It took him a few rounds to recover. Am I right in saying that? I'm trying to remember now.
Yeah. He kept going to the body, didn't he? And then he went upstairs right at the end of the first, I think it was, and caught him an absolute cracker.
So yeah, it could be one of those. It could be one of those who
Chris Butler, thinks that Wood is the bigger puncher here. I tell you what, it's an interesting fight. I'm still sticking with Lara myself.
Well, I take his point because we've seen more of Wood, and we've seen him do it at British, domestic, and fringe world level. So we know he's at least if not one of the best fighter at that weight in Britain. So we know that much. So it's a decent level, shall we say, for carrying up the power. Now he's fighting a guy here who can eat shots and who's probably got equal power, but we just don't know because we've only seen him for like the Warrington fight onwards. So that level, we just don't know. At the end of the day, we keep saying that these guys coming out of these gyms in Mexico and that, and some of the fights I've made, you just don't know what you're going to get. Same with Nicaraguans and some of the Puerto Ricans that you get out of these places. You just don't know what you're going to get. But sometimes you will get one who just fucking surprises you. That could be Lara, but we'll wait and see.
Well, he has kind of been the surprise, and this is the one hesitation I think I'd have in taking Wood, even though I you got to give it to him. He's got crazy heart, and him making it to the end and pulling out a stoppage wouldn't shock me. But Lara is a puncher. Kanzu is not a puncher, and Mick Conlon is not a puncher. That should be your hesitation. He's gonna have to be tighter on defense early. That's all there is to it. And I don't want to give my pick because this is one of the prediction league ones, obviously. But it's all a matter of if he can make that change, because Lara through 6 rounds is a fucking windmill. and you don't see where those punches are coming from. It's nothing you can spar for. He's his own animal. So we'll see.
We'll see, indeed. We'll see. Slappy Gilmore says, laugh at me all you want, chaps. He's thrown in a tenner, so no laughter coming from me here for Mr. Gilmore. He says, I can see Wood weathering the storm and even stopping Bronco Lara. He then drops in a woo, which I imagine sounds like this. So thanks for that, Slappy Gilmore. What are you thinking about this, Rob? Andy was going along the same lines. Maybe weathering the storm. I'm not so sure myself, but that's what Slappy's saying.
Yeah, I'm eating a packet of crisps, so... I think it's a closer fight on paper. I think Wood is in with a good shout. I actually think it might be a distance fight with Lara kind of winning a lopsided decision based on a couple of knockdowns early in the fight, and maybe Wood comes back into it. I think it'd be a superhuman effort to do what he's after doing in the last 3 fights in a row. So it's either going to be a change of tact here where they have, they're pressing him up high, they're pressing him high up the pitch with boxing size Ben Guardiola, and they've come up with a high press and a kind of few transitions there that they can do to affect the outcome of the fight. But jokes aside, unless you get, I think Wood is capable of getting on the jab, so they might try and box him for the first 6 rounds. They've got to weather the early storm. Lara punches so hard, different angles, high work rate, but I do think there's a lap somewhere there with him as well that he might let you off the hook. So I think Wood could well come back into it, but he's going to have to be clever, stay on the outside, try and get on the back of the jab. And Wood can punch himself too. He certainly have enough to keep Lara off him. So if they could stick to a game plan, I could see Wood stretching out a decision out of it and showing kind of like that he's improving with each fight. That's a distinct possibility for me, but I think it's actually going to be, I think I'll knock him out, but I think he'll drop him a couple of times along the way to a decision.
Yumi Yappy's asking Rob, what flavour crisps are you on? Are you on the old Hunky Dories or maybe the Howdy Doodies, little equivalent?
The Jimmy McGee special Hunky Dories. No,
Are you in the
actually
car?
saw them and passed them up. I got a packet of waffles, actually. Potato waffles. Pretty good.
Are you in the car?
Aye, for the moment.
Aye, see, nipped into the garage for some munchies.
I'm actually keeping an eye out for the fucking UFOs are in the sky all over the place, aren't they, at the moment?
Aye,
So
watch for F-16s, mate. They didn't want the Yankees shooting anything fucking blue on blues, you know.
UFO watch at the moment, it's fucking, the final prediction is here.
It's not the Chinese satellites at all, is it? It's the UFOs, mate.
Fuck the prediction league. It's the prediction of the fucking Project Bluebeam at the moment.
Rob waffling on, says Michael Thompson.
Rob definitely on the edibles tonight. On the edibles, Rob, isn't he?
Good lad. Yeah.
Edible waffles.
Shout out to Richard D. Hall. That's all I've got for now then, Matty. Are you going to slide in with your prediction league spiel now?
Yeah. So let's get Wood versus Lara out of the way. And then after that, we got Luis Neri versus Avat Hova Nation. So, yeah, even though we kind of got it all, give people a chance to second guess it. Makes everything up in the incredible paper randomizer. Oh, yeah. You got to mention Felix Sturm. Let's see here. Oh, God, I have to pick first. Let's see here. I am going with Lara by knockout. I think he does it, and he probably does it early, even though I'm pulling for Lee Wood. It would be incredible for him to get 3 in a row late. But I'm going with Lara by the stoppage. Let's see here. And next up, we have Mr. Patterson.
Was it Lee Wood fight, mate? Yeah, I'll go with decision.
Wood decision, you said?
Yeah.
And then, let's see here. We have Mr. Wellings.
I'm going for Lara knockout, please.
Right. And then the leader, Mr. Kelly. Rob, Wood versus Lara.
Leave the man alone. He's getting his waffles into the toaster, mate, while he's sparkling his joint up off the fucking cooker.
Sorry.
Like Uncle Joey style.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, Lara by decision. Lopsided decision.
Lara decision. Okay, so we have a little bit of some differences on this one. Interesting week. All right. And then we have a 122-pound battle between Luis Neri and Azat Hova Nation. Hova Nation's last loss was to Ray Vargas a handful of years ago. Not the type of fighter that's going to have much luck with Ray. Let's see here. First up on this one, Rob.
See, before you do, Rob, is this definitely 122? Just to get it clear.
Yeah, I think it's an eliminator.
You sure about that? I know it's a 12-rounder, but I know Nery's had weight problems, and it sounds weird to me that a guy who's been fighting up at 130 is now going to come down to 122.
When did he fight at one? Oh, he fought that. Didn't he fight one guy one off that high or some shit like that?
I think he's supposed to be back down at 122, Andy. But like you say, I would not be surprised if he didn't fail the.
I'm not
weight.
trusting this one. Like this is a trust issue. This one with Lewis Nery.
Yeah, and I don't control them making weight. I ain't tossing it out if he comes in fat as fuck. It is what.
You can have your man from the Navarrete weighing fiddling with the scales again, aren't you? Just pressing those little buttons.
All right, Rob, who you got in that one?
Who's fighting?
Luis Nery versus Marv Nation.
Azat Hova Nation, Crazy A.
I don't like Nery, so I'm just going to go for Marv Nation points.
Crazy A on points. Okay. All right, and next up we have me. I'm going Crazy A stoppage. Andy.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking the same, mate. That's why I was asking about the weight. I've never liked Nery. He's a cheat. Drugs cheat. I think he's been cheating the weight in that as well. And now he's coming in from 130 to 122. Considering his weight problems in the past, failing to missing weight in that as well. This will be a WBC title of some sort as well, I'd imagine, considering that the WBC have stood by Nery through all his bullshit. So I'm going to go as that as well by stoppage. I'll go latter half, maybe after the 8th.
Okay, right on. And Steve?
I'm going to go for Nery on points, please.
Interesting. All right. Yeah, that's a good couple of interesting fights that we have going there. So and next week, I think I'm gonna have to put 3 fights out there because you'd never know the curse of Tevin Farmer versus fucking
Is that happening? Is it still on? Is it?
It's supposed to be on the 25th. And I'm just as invested in that fight happening as those guys are.
I just want to see if it takes place. That's all I want
card's
to see.
not going to take place, surely.
Maybe that's going to be the prediction. Does the February 25th?
What's the over/under on BLK Prime actually televising?
No, you mentioned it. I see Austin Trout makes his debut next week. I think in that something similar as well.
I think he's doing bare knuckle.
It's bare knuckle. That's what it was because they've got it listed as his pro debut. Aye, but Anthony Peterson's on that card as well. Tevin Farmer, Mickey Bay.
Will they fuck off? Will the two of them fuck off? Tevin Farmer and Mickey Bay going around trying to have fucking fights. They're trying to get a card together for the last 2 years. Jesus Christ.
Christy Martin's the promoter too.
They've gone from the Middle East to Africa to Arizona and now to Georgia. And
they're like fucking David Carradine, man, just traveling the fucking frontiers looking for a fight.
Actually,
David Diamante.
I was going to say Diamante getting in that ring and to the 4 quarters of the globe. I'll tell you, 4 quarters of the globe. Sorry, but that would be the ideal moment for him to use it.
Low lifer.
Finally here, after traveling 4 corners of the globe, to you people here in Georgia. Are you ready to be bored to fucking tears? Yeah, baby.
Oh, yeah, I love it just because it's such a fucking shit show. And maybe it's because I grew up in the Jerry Springer era of the United States, but this mad shit, it's just normal for me. I'm like, this is fucking good entertainment. Fucking, who knows?
You're going to watch us, eh?
I'm not gonna fucking pay for this. I just want it to fucking happen. What has it been, like 18 months they've been trying to make this shit happen? Like, I'm fully vested in
mate,
this.
Listen, see when it was first mooted, I didn't give a fuck then. I didn't give a shit then, and I didn't give a shit tomorrow as well. So fuck them, man. As I say, just put 4 fucking bollocks. This is just confirm the fight happens, and we'll just mention the result, and that's all we need to do.
Yeah, well, and also, Andy, why would I pay for that fight when we have Subriel Matias versus Ponce that night? Why in the God's name would I spend money when that's available?
But I will say this: AB looking slimline, baby.
Is he?
Oh yes, living the life, fucking eating well, vegan, I believe.
That
Yeah.
was a photo from 2008. Apparently.
Oh, was it? But no, I did
I'm
see.
joking.
I did see something though recently. He is looking a bit slim, and he seems to be fucking living it properly. We'll wait and see, but it's just too late for him now. Fuck him.
It's like what happened to Hatton, man. You can't go up and down and up and down and up and down and wait and not live the life. And
that's a
and
short
not have to
prime
catch
if
up
you
with
do
it.
that. It's a short prime if you do that, mate.
Yeah, Hopkins. I mean, I think if a fighter's really saying I want to be in this as long as I can, they should be looking at how Hopkins lived his life and do the best you can to emulate it.
Have you heard Hopkins
I'm
recently?
gonna say I'm not so sure about that.
I know. I mean, that Joe Smith getting pinged out the rings obviously fucking dented his napper a wee bit more, by the way.
Everything except retiring before you're after you're fucking 45, like that. Like they need to do that. Like all he did, but retire at a decent time. And
Promised his mom he was going to retire at 41, didn't he? And he went on for another 9 years.
Steve, you still got that
The
clip
thing
we
was,
played
the
last
fucker,
week?
he never got hit. He never got hit even in the later stages of his career. All right, Chad Dawson got to him a few times, or Pascal. They were starting to find him, but he was never getting like shellings until the Kovalev fight, where he just got brutally fucking manhandled for 12 rounds.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that took everything out of him. Like he was gone after
Steve,
that.
I don't suppose you've still got that clip for last
I
week.
haven't. I've had to delete it.
It's fine, but if you actually watch his mannerisms and that, by the way, it's like that dude's crazy. It's like, you know, the way he's talking, it's like you're all granddads fucking looking to tell you a good story, you know. Goes on for ages. You ask me one question, man. He talks for about half an hour on that fucking one question. Easy. You only talk about twice or ask two questions to him in an entire hour. If you can look.
He had a pilot a few years ago for like a cooking show, about his diet and that. Like, but it's like I'd say they had to fucking can it. Imagine trying to edit that like into one fucking television show. Jesus Christ!
It's like look, B-Hop, we like what you did here, but a cooking show can't be as long as Apocalypse Now.
He eats a lot of beets, apparently, Matty. You know, the like beets and stuff. Roots.
Beets are supposed to be very, very good for you. I'm not particularly keen on beets unless they're in the right kind of salad, but you know, whatever.
Allegedly, he's a big, massive hoarder as well. So he's got all these gloves and robes and belts.
Right.
He's got everything, man. That guy was. You talk about being frugal. Fucking hell, he's one of the most frugal guys you'll ever know, man. I'm surprised he's never really done like a museum, because the amount of shit that I hear that he's got in his possession, like everything for his career, just about. I mean, you remember this guy practically took owns his own career at one point. I think he was even, who was his name? Him out fucking ran with Joe Frazier, Butch, but was it Butch Lewis? I think his name was.
Yeah.
I think he might be involved with Hopkins at one point, and he was trying to kind of get out a contract and wasn't happy with something or whatever it was. But yeah, B-Hop had these fucking issues in that as well, with like contracts and managers, and he fucking took on his own career.
That's right.
And look what he did. They went on to become the man at middleweight, and then stepped up to light. Obviously, we're going to be doing a Punches for the Past episode very, very soon. And on the research at that, man, I went back and seen the Pavlik fight against Hopkins. And this is like a guy moving up to middleweight who was the man and one of the feared punchers at that weight at that time. And Hopkins just fucking took him apart like he wasn't even, deserving to be in that ring with him, man.
That was a clinic. That was hard to watch.
I'd never seen the next time I seen B-Hop fight like that was the two Pascal fights, which Steve then did as well, man. That was fucking incredible.
Mm-hmm. It was incredibly. He was just everything that he could have done right that night. He did, and I mean, he was just clowning Kelly Pavlik. That was, that was something to watch.
Yep, if you want to hear that, jump on over to patreon.com/Boxing Asylum, and you can hear the Hopkins Pascal fights. And Hater Dave Loback jumped on with us to listen to that one as well. Some great fights, and we are going to be doing an episode very shortly. So join us over in the Messenger group if you want to hear that. Right, let's move on then, boys, to Value of the Week before we get out of here for episode 510. Rob's here, Andy's here, Matty's here, and me, Steve. Now, I mentioned earlier, something to watch out for Value of the Week. Take Ames was busy during the week, and we have a friend of the Asylum now. I feel bad slagging him. He almost seems like a pretty decent guy. Let's have a look.
I'm down in the gutter. As Oscar Wilde said, we're all down in the gutter looking up at the stars. What's that all about then? Who is that? That's Elle Brooke. Oh, Elle Brooke. I love Elle. She's brilliant. And I think she's going to be a pro as well. What that?
That's the meme.
What does
yeah.
that mean, that I'm in the gutter because I like Elle Brooke? I did a joint interview with her and IFL TV one day, and I said, I know her husband actually as well. They're a lovely couple. I think she'll make it as a pro. And what did I say about her? She's got such powerful legs, and I think people picked up on that. So what does that mean?
Have you ever heard of the Bellew of the Week, Gareth?
Oh, is that what? Well, I've been a bell end, am I?
No, well, I wouldn't use those words.
Bellew of the Week?
But it was a nomination given by a hardcore group of boxing fans.
Yeah, meaning what?
Who, like maybe some of your interviews, I guess.
Is that negative, or I think that's pretty negative?
It's a bit of
staring
banter.
out of the drain like some troll.
A bit of banter.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. No, I haven't seen that. It's funny though. It's very good. Can you see it? Yeah, big fan of Elle Brooke.
His demeanor changed 180 degrees.
If he thinks that's negative, he should see some of the other ones. He fucking really love them all together.
I that because of my subscription. Brilliant. You know what? I want to see the guy do next week's vape pen. I want to see it filled with 96% THC, baby.
Woo!
Just blast that. I just
eating a packet of waffles after.
Exactly, mate. Or a packet of chocolate fingers.
I know her husband actually as well. I've seen his dick in her mouth on her OnlyFans.
Jesus.
And then he says, when he's blazed, I can see the phoenix rising from the ashes. And then there he is.
He was on the fight within, Matty, but I tell you what, we preferred that interview. Ames putting it to him, man. He's like a troll down in the gutter.
Steve, I'm starting to think we might have to retire the GAD as for nominees. I don't know how much longer this could go on. What
you're saying, Matty, is you loved how he was pretending not to know what it was all about when he clearly fucking knows. He's been in the box. We've been here over 10 years. He's fucking heard, man.
The way his demeanor changed in it is just like, his like heart sank to the bottom of his stomach when he like realized what that meme is basically saying. And I don't know. I feel kind of bad for him right now.
I love the way he said, I think it had to do with a joint IFL interview where I may have said something about her terribly powerful legs. I'm not sure.
God, don't worry, mate. We know you've still got the loins, man. You've still got the juice, but scale it back a bit, man. The super God.
Ryan Deal getting some love on seconds out there. So
he's going to have him dress up like fucking Jimmy Savile at some point, right? Come on. He's missing a trick there.
Oh, he's doing the Lord's work. Shout out to Ames as well, doing some great work over there. Christopher Lovejoy's back in action, Andy. He says, man, I can't wait to knock out this motherfucker Johnny Fisher out so I can shut all you motherfuckers up. You're gonna see the UK Assassin real soon. You're all gonna cry, all your motherfuckers. And Big John Fisher said, Chris, calm down, mate. Got to think of your blood pressure at your age.
Made me think of Jay and Silent Bob when they say, we're going to find all you motherfuckers and make you eat our shit. And then you're going to then shit out our shit and eat that shit again that we made out of meat or something like that.
Diet advice from Big John Fisher.
Well, Big John, I've kind of like got bored of him, so I didn't really watch the clips, and I've kind of dried up a wee bit as well. But Ozzy keeps us up to date at all hours of the night, right? So Ozzy's looking at us know what's happening with the cheap meals, that type of thing, and I'm like, yeah, it's going good. But then Ozzy obviously as well getting his Christmas dinner and with the Bosch videos, even getting in a fucking Big John special, over a century in notes for that meal at Christmas time. But Big Oz, keep an eye on it for us.
Ozzy's voice notes sliding in.
I tell you what, the old man's famous. But the old man's more famous about the actual fucking fighting.
I know, yeah. I couldn't pick the kid out of a lineup, but I know Bosch anytime I see him. What was I going to say? I was in the Chinese the other night, and the girl was on the phone, and she was like, "Oh, we have a 65-pounder." And I thought, is he fucking here? Is he here as well? Is he?
65-pounder? That wouldn't do, Big John, Rob.
No, that's just the starters. That's cheat day.
Just cheat day. Fucking cheat day. Well, shout out to Johnny Fisher. Johnny Hulscott Nelson as well. Genuinely would rather see Lovejoy fight Fisher Senior. Yeah, wouldn't mind seeing that myself, actually, to be honest.
It's just Johnny now. I think he's trying
he's
to
going to
have
a
a
fight.
talk show.
He's having a fight, Eddie. Let's be honest. Look at the climate here. He's having a fight, and it's probably going to be on his own. Get ready for it,
Misfits.
Misfits is right.
Misfits boxing. What about this? For a bit of misfit in here. Palmer bet. It's the
How
the
many
baby
pints is one on the right, by the way?
Ash Sims versus Danny Mace, Andy, the babyface assassin.
Fuck me. Look at the one on the right, man. Jesus.
The baby-faced assassin, man, in Nuthouse.
I don't know. The one on the right, though, that's the one you pick up at grab a granny night, eh?
Tough-looking baby, innit?
And the one on the left, man, she's fucking bulimic, eh? She makes herself sick in the morning.
A baby following a house fire and the subsequent repair to her face.
I thought it was like Katie Price fighting her ex. That when I squinted at it, it's like Katie Price fighting the fella who used to fucking, what's it called, a cage fight.
What the size of that forehead to the one on the right? She's the eyebrows, man. What fucking it's a doorstep.
Like Dave Courtney with a fucking red in it. Look at fucking hell. Danny Mace, man. Mace in your face.
That's Neutral Corner Fight Promotions over in Australia.
What the fuck is going on over in Australia? Yeah, Ash Sims. Rising from the ashes like a phoenix. Danny Mace, mate.
Danny Mace's goal is to go in there and make Ash Sims look like her.
Why is the date the biggest fucking part of the poster? Like 25th of March. Just relax.
Would you want to make her face any bigger on the poster, Rob?
Rob, you've only got 5-6 weeks, so you've got to fucking tell the fucking public. Come on, dude. Time was off the essence here.
How can no one in boxing make a flyer? Look at the background there. Like it's like a bingo card or something. What the fuck is going?
There's some of the sponsors, Rob. We've got Beef for Biz Crypto, First Class Tree Service, Removal, Trimming and Recycling.
First Class Tree Service? Well, if they're not involved, Steve, I don't want to watch it.
I'm going to Google the venue, so just bear with us a second to see if I can find it.
Prisoner Cell Block H5, says the Dr. FG. Lizzie Burnsworth is fucking refereeing it.
The ring made the cardboard.
They don't have a ring, they just have a fucking ironing press. You have to put the other one's head under it.
Oh, right. It looks like it's an actual.
He used to give me roses.
Oh, do you get what it is? Do you know what it is? It looks like it's a trotting stadium or maybe a greyhound stadium. Paceway.
Bankstown Paceway.
It's like a trotting stadium. So.
Andy, all tickets, call Paul, man. 0413812274. Get on it.
We should phone him, Steve. Phone him now. Find out if we get an answer off him.
I ain't ringing Australia. Do you remember the last time I rang you? The fucking £25 phone bill?
We'll send Ryan Deal there.
Will they have Father Dave? That's what I want.
But this reminds me of one of the fucking Prisoner Cell Block H episodes. You know where like B. Smith gets out for like 2 weeks and she starts getting vertigo and all. She has to go back to prison, so she starts committing a random crime. Wow, she's fucking in a bare knuckle fight all of a sudden.
Oh my god. We've got some good fight posters tonight. We'll move on. Here's another one. Rob Boxing Shrew. I don't know what's going on with these ticket sales, but it's not nice. Says AJ.
Brutal Mente. Jesus Christ. Money, 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 money. Money.
Here comes the money. Money, 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 money.
Not much money by the looks of it, Andy.
Yeah, but it's not nice though, mate.
It's not nice.
Where's they getting held? The O2. What's that? 20,000?
O2, yeah.
That's 20,000, eh? Aye. Yeah.
We wish them well.
Well, we do. We
Just
really want to see
be in
anybody
Eddie's
struggling.
garden.
You just try to sort of put some food on the table.
Yeah. Hey, we laughed at the Aussies. Game changers. Never mind game change. Game changers. Here we are.
Is that a tag team?
Humble Civic Centre.
What the fuck is that? Humble Civic Centre, Texas. Yeah, I was surprised.
What's the fucking? Who's actually fighting?
All right, is this the same guy here? Is this him like morphing like for like a rapper and a boxer here?
This fight is in the metaverse, I think.
Oh, the world's gone mad, man. I don't even know.
Who's the guy in the background? Who's?
Why do those guys have the same tattoos on their stomach?
Yeah. Looks like an extra by Japanese fucking cartoon.
Exactly. Well, it could be game-bred boxing. Roy Jones against Anthony Pettis. Never mind inbred boxing. This is game-bred boxing over in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. There's a few.
Anthony Pettis, was he not an ex-8 UFC fighter?
Yep,
I think so. Yeah.
Look at Paul Bailey's opponent.
Jose Aldo.
This poster's so bad, man. Look at this. Jose Aldo's having a fucking boxing match as well on it by the looks of it.
Fucking Belfort as well. So is Belfort.
So they've wasted all the money on the fighters, and the fucking poster looks like the fucking pause screen from a Sega Mega Drive game from 1994 or something. Look at the state of that. Like
this is Game Bred Boxing 4.
But I'm telling
this is
you,
number
Steve,
4. Look at the top.
You See if Belfort is actually on the fucking juice like he was back in his prime. Oh my word, we're in for a fucking
Belfort of the week.
Oh, what?
What's wrong, at, man? Would you go and fucking sit down, man? Like, greatest fucking fighter of all time. Get a grip, man. You should be fucking. What's wrong with you, man? I love you, like, Roy, but stop doing this, man. Come on, like, fuck's sake.
Game changer.
What age is Roy now? 50 something?
52, 54, something like that.
Is he that old? My God.
Christ, man.
It's all kicking off in there. Game Bread Boxing 4. There's been another 3 before that. We look forward to the 4th instalment. Anthony Fowler tweeted out, Anne Frank's house. What a horrible world we live in. And then there's him and his laugh.
Smiling as well, man, insensitive prick.
He's like Jamie McDonald back in the day, and he flipped me. What did he do?
What was that? That was it. What was it?
Auschwitz.
Auschwitz. I thought it was Bergen-Belsen, but I fucking Auschwitz.
Ryan Deal's been on this one, Andy. You'll be pleased to hear. Regency Hotel.
Fuck.
He's a bad man, isn't he? He's trolling the guard. He's trolling the guard. He's on the Photoshop as well, so shout out to him. Amanda Holden, don't forget JDW fashion for Valentine's Day ideas. Frankie Gavin says, don't mean to be rude, but I would love to hang you at the back of that.
Well, true, but listen, I don't think there's a man on earth, man, who would not want to be hanging out the back of her like a third man in a toboggan race, to be fair.
It's like just fucking chatting with Richard Keys, isn't it? Just smash it.
Well,
hanging out the back of any night of the week.
Well,
Frankie Gavin.
Andy, you wouldn't want that because you can't handle more than one woman at a time if we've already been under. It's too much of a stress for you. So you don't care for that at all. You have eyes for one.
I'll let you into a personal conversation me and the missus had the other night about Samela Hayek. I says, look, listen, Mrs. Parson, look, you do know if that was ever enter my sphere as such, she says, you do know I would need to. You know, and you can watch if you want. she said, so absolute credit, she says, yep, I'd actually watch as well.
See, I've opened up the triple asylum.
I'll come back to you in a minute. All right, the phone ringing here.
That's myself ringing about. I'll be telling that Salma Hayek story on the podcast.
Yeah, let's like and subscribe.
It's the old man. It's the old man. I better give him a quick text, actually. Give me a second. When you go, mate.
No worries. We'll move on. Oscar De La Hoya says, it's Super Bowl week and we're on the 1 yard line looking to score Javonte versus Ryan Garcia. Let's hope PBC doesn't let the fans down and fucking fumble. Holly Saunders, his side piece, says, I'm looking to score with Paco. And Oscar says, babe, you already won the Super Bowl. Arturo, Oscar's Riz? Yes, Paco is his penis. Oscar's just lost the plot on him.
Again, by the way.
He has a name. He has a name for his old man, does Oscar. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with him, but I know it's not nice. Danny Cassius Connor says, Rishi Sunak wants our kids to study math until they're 18. I studied it till I was 16. What difference is another 4 years going to make? And then Ben Day says, never use this. We have a calculator and predictive text. Fuck maths and English. Yeah, fuck maths and English.
That's what Isaac Lowe said. Fuck English, man. By the way, you didn't remember when fucking Paris Fury, sorry, along with Sugar Hill fucking rinsing poor Isaac, by the way, about a game of Scrabble. Did you ever see it?
I watched it in the end. I didn't manage to get it.
We need to try and get it played, man. If we can, yeah. I've still got it.
Yes, she was brilliant. She played it so good. She said it with a dead straight face that they decided Isaac won a game of Scrabble to decide he was going to be Tyson's trainer.
It was fucking brilliant.
To anyone who sent me the GAD video that didn't play properly last week, I cannot get that fucking thing playing for love and money. So sorry, we're gonna have to just pass on that one. I edited it, tried to re-upload it, and I just can't get it working for some reason. It must be to do with TikTok or Instagram or whatever format it originally came on. Can't get it working, so sorry about that. We'll move on. Right, what else have we got here then? Big Tommy Fury praise from Lyndon Arthur. He's probably the hardest person I have been punched off. He's got strange power, says Lyndon Arthur. I'm not sure what he's referring to there. They're doing their best to try and talk up that fight.
Never turned up to the press conference this week. Again, it's not looking good, bro.
It's not going to happen.
I'm glad I just made that up for myself there now.
Well, what is he all about, man? He's just like, he's all black and he fucking action.
He never turned up to the press conference. Jake Paul snapping, saying like, fucking, he had Derek Chisora at the press conference instead of Tommy Fury. Fuck's sake.
It's all kicking off. We had a track dropped last week, Rob, from Idris Virgo, or the Quote.
Oh, I've heard it.
This week.
Oh, believe you me, I've heard it already.
Let's go.
I'm all over the world, whooping ass. You think I'm fighting a regular? You smoking crack. I got a family to feed. Get the bag. If you ain't talking about money, get the fuck back. I don't like talking shit, but
Jesus.
That boy from the Quote.
I'm not going to tell her that it's no good anyway.
Toilet.
Thank him.
I think I should put together a mixtape of all fucking rappers' fucking songs and just put it out there for Maddie. Maddie can play it on Chicks with Digs or something. Do you know that way?
Probably got
Be
copyright
like
for
Danny
that.
Garcia and the greatest hits of Idris Virgo, Danny Garcia, Adrian Broner, Roy Jones, and Clarissa the Quote Shields. I'm sure there's a few others that we haven't fucking picked up on, but
Deontay's got a song out now.
oh yeah, I must have forgot about Deontay's song as well. You're right.
He's almost like a finger blasting his missus on it, eh?
I wish him well.
God help her, that power.
Down like Hellenius. Oh, dear.
Oh man, like Bambi on ice, she would be.
Things are going well for Dennis Hobson. He signed Maximus Jenkins on a deal with Fight Zone the same week that he ran a card over in Malta on Fight Zone. It's all happening. And apparently this fellow has an opponent for Maximus Jenkins. So there you go, Matty. I'll tell you what, he wouldn't be able to praise on one of your Arkansas cards.
Fucking Jesus Christ.
You know, I know this fighter. His name is Tubak Shakur. Is his name.
Oh man, this is this is Tupac Shakur. Fucking Aussie, man. We'll see this week. This is right up in Strasser, man. Fucking hell. Hold it back for Aussie for next week, that one.
I'm not even going to try anything. You know, you don't go over something that brilliant. So
look at the love handles, man. Jesus.
Doing well. Nice bit of crack there from the fella. Moving on to another fight poster. Here we go. Stevie Ongan Ferdinandus, boxing promotion, light heavyweight, 6 rounds. King Fahd from Indonesia going against Alexander Boki, the challenger with 1L for the Doble Championship match.
I hope Tim Boxeo's got a link for this one for Matty. You can bet on this one, Matty. Fuck me. What's this? The Double Championship match. Oh, we need to see this belt, Steve. This is going to be a title watch fight, this one.
WBC at the bottom there, Andy.
It's an okay poster, but I prefer if the date was a lot bigger on it. Just right smack bang in the middle.
It looks like a rip-off, mate, fucking MGM Grand in the background there.
It was yesterday, flip me. That's already taken place. Look, February the 11th. You can barely see the date there, Rob. It's kind of blended into the background.
It's kind of blended the canvas of the line there. I love
Jakarta in the
22
studio.
p.m, so 10 o'clock local time.
Yep. Good luck to the boys. Might be taking place right now. Who knows? We have a couple more to do. DAZN Boxing, they're a bit of a troll account, aren't they? Could Jermaine Franklin be a more difficult test for Anthony Joshua than Alexander Usyk? Well, I don't know. Nobody will be there to see it anyway, by the looks of it.
I had to laugh. Eddie gave a big impassioned speech even this week, and he was like, "This is a guy who's back. This is a guy who doesn't care about belts, who doesn't care about money. He cares about the sport of boxing." And then somebody interviewed AJ, and they were like, "What's your motivation at this point, AJ?" And he was like, "Money, money."
money.
Oh, he's all about the money. And a final one, it's a video from me. Joe Joyce against Zhang are going up against each other very shortly. And there's some real intense beef, some banter going back and forward between the boys. They really hate each other.
Big bang, silly Zhang. You're going to get banged by the juggernaut.
Sorry, mate. I don't know about bang. 不知道是你的坦克硬，还是我的穿甲弹厉害。到时候我们赛场见喽。
Here we are, hyped up. Fuck's sake.
That was underwhelming.
That was. That's going to shift a few pay-per-views if that's where it ends up. Striking the mood nicely there.
What's going on with AJ, by the way? Have they fucking would they leave him alone? Leave AJ alone.
It's so nice though, eh?
It's
so nice.
It's like, what is he talking about? It's like he's actually coming across a lot better than he used to. But it's still like he talks in circles. Like nobody fucking ever gets an answer out of him. It's like ID did a good job of kind of, I think, getting him to relax a little bit. But like, they're asking about the change of trainer, and he's like, "Yeah, need a trainer because obviously I have the vision, but in order to execute the vision, I need to be better. So to be better, I need somebody who's going to direct me." I'm like, fucking hell, man, just say you're going to a new trainer with you. What's wrong with you? Like, fucking talking like that, talking in fucking circles all the time. Everything is just he just talks in like fucking LinkedIn cliches or something, doesn't he? Like, it was the strategy and the vision. Oh, fuck off, man.
Did you hear Derek James's interview actually with him about becoming his trainer? I think he says something along the lines like, say, he doesn't need to be a dog or something like that. He says, the problem you've got with a dog is it lacks intelligence sometimes. A dog would fight a bear. He's going to lose the fight, but he's going to fight a bear. So he then goes on and says, like, you have to be intelligent, you've got to be smart, choose the right tactics. Okay, this is Hector Camacho type shit. This is changing it up, being safe and stay on the fucking jab, and just stay out of harm's way. That's what will happen. And then what happens is somebody will put it on him and he's got to feel implied to fucking put it back on them. I think one more defeat for JJ, by the way, and I could see him calling it quits. It's not going to be this fight, though, you don't think?
Never know. Strange
things
have happened.
You betting on that one, mate?
No.
A few folk were saying this is a decent enough fight. I don't know. I've not seen much of Franklin, so...
I only saw him in the White fight. I saw a couple of people on American Boxing Twitter hyping him up before the Dillian White fight, but I don't really fucking... I think Dillian White's has a ceiling and he's reached it already. And I don't think fucking a competitive fight against Dillian White really says much. And AJ should walk through this guy, but like, what if he's like a fucking Ruiz, like where he holds... What if he takes AJ's shot and holds his position in the center of the ring and starts to counter him? Like, does he have doubts? You know what I mean? I think AJ he comes across as a guy that's just filled with self-doubt. And maybe there's a bit of fragility there. Like, it says a lot, jokes aside, like, it says a lot of Franklin is his comeback opponent. It means that they were never taking the fucking Fury fight. And I think Fury was trying to catch him on the hop anyway, to be honest with you. And make a quick buck while he was a sitting duck, basically. But, yeah, it's an interesting one.
AJ against Jermaine Franklin on April Fool's Day. We'll do a post-fight pod for that one indeed. But we're on Bellew of the Week now. That is all the nominations I have in this week. Matty, what have you got for us?
Steve, I'm very disappointed in you. I tagged you in a video someone put in the Nutters group of something I titled as War Machine 3 and said Andy needs to see this. And it never appeared in here. I'm very sad.
Well, let me tell you for two reasons.
Let me see it.
That's an older one that we've seen before, Andy. You would have recognised it. But last time do you remember we got struck off badly? Do you remember they took it down on the Monday morning for us putting them pub fight videos on? Yeah, it's some guy outside McDonald's, Andy, battering a couple of fellas. You would have seen it going around.
He's an old guy. He's like 70, and he's just like fucking waylaying these guys with his slick right hand.
There's another one of about a 19-year-old Chelsea fan going around, and he squares up to some guy, West Ham fan, that gets absolutely fucking sparkled. Like,
he fucked around and found it.
Yeah, there's footage of him going around, like getting wheeled around in a wheelchair about fucking 2 minutes later. Not like it's a tough one. Like, you don't want to be getting into a fight these days, man. There's so many cameras around. Like, you know what I mean?
Yep, cameras everywhere. Andy, any from you, please?
Nothing really for me, mate. Maybe just one for the Zone with the subscriptions. You know, I've had a few of them. People like the flexible option, so it's like £20 a month now for that. But people are then saying, "Well, it's only £10 a month if you actually go with a year." But the problem you've got is you're subbed in for the year. You didn't want that fucking shit. You didn't want fucking laced in like that. So maybe one for the Zone. And that's also on top. I just wonder about the pay-per-views and that as well. It's just interesting to put the prices up with the same day that they mentioned that Joshua was fighting Franklin, and it's not going to be on pay-per-view on the Zone. So one for them. I think that's all I've got, mate, to be fair. I'm not really keep up the news this week, to be fair.
No, it's fine. Good, strong week as it is. Rob, any from you, please?
No, just that one with Eddie doing the passing speech about AJ doing it for the glory, and then AJ coming out saying he's fighting only for money. He's a prize fighter. I thought that was pretty good.
Okay, we'll throw those ones in from the boys and add them to this. We had Big John Fisher going in against Christopher Lovejoy. We have Prisoner Cell Block H, Danny Mace, the babyfaced assassin, going in against Ash Sims. We've got AJ failing to sell tickets. We had Game Changed, Game Bread Boxing 4. We had Fowler outside on Frank's house and then dropping into the Regency. We had Amanda Holden there and Frankie Gavin. A bit of Oscar. We had Danny Cassius Connor and Ben Day. We had Lyndon Arthur and Tommy Fury. We had Dennis Hobson signing Max and the Crack Addict. We've got Jakarta Indonesian Boxing, the Double Championship match. And we've got DAZN Boxing there as well. And of course, the Gad giving the Nuthouse a shout out. And the videos were the Goat, the Joyce versus Zhang banter, and the one that introed us in as well, Matty. The Gad down in the sewer like a common troll. Who are you going for this week? Episode 510, please, Matty.
I'm going to have to go with the fight poster of the hot chick versus the gal who was the decrepit-looking chick in The Shining in that bathtub scene.
Hey, Matty, that'll happen to you when you hit 60. Poor old Danny, she's doing her best.
Is that what look like that, or I'm going to sleep with women who look like that?
I don't know. Let's find out, shall we?
I'm finding out who actually. Give me a second.
Yeah.
She is.
Danny Mates, boxing. Here we are, found her.
She's 0
Norton 2.
And stop twice.
Stop twice.
Oh, by the way, interest, for her debut, she was stopped in the 4th round of a 6-rounder, and she even failed to make weight for the Australian National Boxing Federation Australasian Bantamweight title. There's a buffer with the pish, by the way.
Well, listen, I'm not convinced that she's going places in the sport. To be honest with you, she's not taking that fucking kind of illustrious title serious. Like, it's a long time since she was a babyface assassin as well. Let's be honest about it. Like,
but they've not got her date of birth, Steve, so we don't know.
No, it doesn't
guesstimate
say.
what age she is, but it's been a hard fucking life, I can tell you.
get her versus Shannon Courtney for Battle of the Babyfaces next time. Make it happen.
Maybe her name means that she tries to assassinate those with baby faces because she's so envious of them.
I don't think either of these are assassinating too many people. She's 0 and 2, and Ashley Sims is 0, 2 and 1. Not a great main event, Rob, is it? Let's be honest.
No, it's not. It's not great, but I loved her in Misery.
She looks like a fucking misery, man. Look
She's
at her.
never been anything but misery, actually. Oh, there you go. That's a nomination there for the assassin herself.
Ash Sims looks like she's somebody who's fucking like in the fucking early stages of X Factor, who's wanted to be a pop singer her whole life, don't she? A little bit like.
She looks like the kind of person that would find their way into David Hayes' thruple as the 4th. Just that one night in Spain, though, it was crazy.
Don't pull a Ronaldinho. He got in trouble with his 2 wives that time because he was having an affair.
Greedy fuck.
Okay, the poster is getting the nomination for Matty. Andy, who are you going for this week?
Yeah, that's a solid one, mate, especially with the date emblazoned there as well. We're 5-6 weeks away from it, time's off of the essence, so I think you give it to Neutral Corner Fight Promotions. Was it Paul Nazary?
Yep. Paul Nazary there, getting a nomination.
And plus, it's getting held at a racecourse stadium.
Oh, absolutely. Let's see if Tim Boxeo gets all over this one. We might watch it on the 25th. It might do a post-fight pod, Andy. It'll be about, 11 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, I've just seen your doors open 12 p.m. So that's amateur box starts at 1 p.m. Professional starts at 6 p.m. Holy shit. I was going to run like a rushing car. That would be finishing like fucking midnight, possibly. Let's see if there's any. What's the undercard looking like here?
What day is the 25th? That's Saturday.
Oh, Steve, look at the undercard, mate.
Okay, let's have a look.
And
oh my god! What the fuck?
I'll count this out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17 fucking fights, man. There's more debuts here than the fucking, I don't know what.
More debuts than a porn video.
Jesus Christ.
I'll shout out to the girls, I say. I like the Gad, but he wins it too often, even though he gave us a shout out.
Yeah, it's getting this, it's turning into a kind of bully.
I like Ben Day as well. Fuck maths and English. but yeah, I'm going for the girls, Rob. It's 3 for the girls, so who you going for?
Oh, it's got to be the trouble then. Definitely, we can't fucking unanimous decision here. Like, definitely for the size of the date on the poster, that's fucking unheralded. Like, I've never fucking seen anything. And Palmer better getting a big fucking mention in that as well. Like, Maddie probably has an account with them.
Gamble responsibly.
Well, let's be fair when it comes to this. The only chance these gals have winning anything is the belly of the week. So good on you, ladies.
Well said, Matty. Congratulations, Ash Sims, Danny Mace, and Paul Nazari from Gender Neutral Corner Fight Promotions. You are the belly of the week for episode 510, and that is going to do us for tonight.
Hold on, is it a gender neutral fight? Not saying anything, but is it? No.
No, sorry. I threw that in. It's neutral.
Oh,
it's
sorry.
Neutral corner fight.
Sorry, you saw that one.
That was me being cheeky.
Well.
That was me being cheeky, Robert. As usual, dropping in little jokes there as we have a laugh every Sunday evening, as we have done tonight with rapping Rob Kelly on the call. Shout out to Ozzy Smith, who has been unable to join us. He's away on holiday. Hopefully get him back next week. Andy Patterson's been here as well. So is Matty D. Gialinardo. I've been Steve Wellings. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Give us a shout out during the week and a comment. Let us know what you're enjoying and what you're not. Matty will be in the red hot seat next weekend as I scramble for the outro. We'll catch you all again, same time.
Thank you to the people that gave in the chat too, as well, Steve.
Right,
Ryan
Matty,
Deal,
yes.
Joe Burns, and Slappy Gilmore tossing in some bucks today.
Absolutely, and my apologies, everybody. I completely forgot about Ryan Deal there, and Joe Burns, and Slappy Gilmore. It is remiss of me to mention them. We'll get out of here. Thanks, boys. Catch you all again, same time, same place next week, and bye.
We'll never forget.
I think that's good happening.
We want to be honest, yeah?
Crying like a little bitch. I've never met a fucking swank that can fight me.
I fell asleep. You're a fucking bum, you're a fucking asshole.
Rumpo fucking Steltskin.
But allegedly, Oscar Rivas has failed a test.
7 year ain't. I will fucking smash fucking you.
I hope you fucking die.
Be safe.
I love boxing silence. As simple as that.